Good afternoon, everyone. I call to order today's meeting of the Boston City Council. Viewers can watch the council meeting live on YouTube at boston.gov/city-council-TV. At this time, I ask my colleagues and those in the audience to please silence their cell phones and electronic devices. Thank you. Mr. Clerk, will you please call the roll to ascertain the presence of a quorum?
Councilor Braden.
Here.
Councilor Coletta Zapata.
Here.
Councilor Durkin.
Here.
Councilor Fernandez Anderson.
Here.
Councilor Fitzgerald.
Here.
Councilor Flynn.
Here.
Councilor Lujan.
Here.
Councilor Mejia.
Here.
Councilor Murphy.
Here.
Councilor Pepin. Councilor Santana.
Here.
Councilor Weber.
Here.
And Councilor Worrell.
Here.
A quorum is present.
Thank you. I've been informed by the clerk that a quorum is present. I would first like to recognize a former city councilor and former city council president who is here with us, former city council president Larry DeCara. Larry? Okay, well, I know he was inside, so welcome back to Chambers, former President DeCara. And we also have with us Gisa Franco from the Federal University of Parana in Brazil. Thank you for being with us here today. Councilor Braden acknowledges you, so thank you for being here. Now it is my pleasure to introduce this week's clergy, Reverend J.D. Ingram of Christ Church, Charlestown, invited by Councilor Coletta Zapata. Councilor Coletta Zapata, you now have the floor. The invocation will be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you so much, Madam President. I know that we have a packed agenda. We're recognizing a ton of people, but I am so honored to welcome up J.D. Ingram up to the dais, if you can. He is the lead pastor at Christ Church at 10 Green Street in Charlestown. Christ Church has always been a welcoming place for everyone in the community, including myself in some meetings, and I'll get to that in just a few moments. But they teach their core values of authenticity, humility, loyalty to God and to community. In early 2022, they began the process of merging the First Church in Charlestown, one of the oldest churches in America. They have become a multi-generational, multi-ethnic group of people with diverse backgrounds and religious upbringings, but are united and compelled by their shared conviction to love of Christ, love of the church, and love of Charlestown. I love that last part. JD and his wife, Natalie, moved to Charlestown at the end of 2016, along with their two sons, Noah and Owen. They are proud to be residents of 02129 and have fully ingratiated themselves in a number of causes. They are active members of the community and have gotten involved in youth sports and mentorship, charitable giving, and a number of social service organizations. JD has been generous with allowing the Charlestown Coalition and Turn It Around Youth Group to utilize their space in the winter to hold race and equity dialogues. This is a monthly conversation to bridge the community together following George Floyd's murder in 2020. It's still running on the third Tuesday of every month, and I welcome my colleagues there and thank JD for his generosity. On a personal note, whenever I see JD, he offers affirmations, and he looks at me and he asks me how I'm doing, and he listens. He provides words of wisdom and encouragement to keep going in this work. He reminds me to take care of myself as I try to do for others too. I appreciate his guidance, his friendship, and I'm so honored he accepted this invitation to provide the invocation. Thank you so much, JD.
If I can, let me pray for us as we get going. And I'm going to read, because I can be a little bit of a clown if I get off script. So thank you, Lord, for the privilege of being here today before these elected officials and people who love our city. Lord, keep my heart today in this brief moment from grandstanding or preaching in any way. Thank you that we get to live in a city and a country that invites you into these spaces, not to strong-arm others into belief, but to remember that you are in control and that all healthy and good expressions of government are just a shadow of the good governing that we experience living under your authority. Thank you for these particular leaders, this City Council of Boston. I thank you especially for my friend and City Councilor, Councilor Coletta Zapata. Lord, I pray that you bless Gigi. She has been a gift to me and to our community. For this council, thank you for their similarities, their love for our city, their desire for a city that would aspire to both greatness and goodness, a city where all are loved and welcomed as your image bearers, a city where, as the Jewish scriptures said, justice will roll down like waters and righteousness like an ever-flowing stream. Thank you as well for their differences that come from the diversity of their stories and backgrounds and convictions and beliefs. I pray today that their differences will make them better as human beings and citizens and leaders of our city. Guide their discussions and decisions today. Protect their hearts and their minds and their souls. Give them abiding peace, ridiculous joy, confident hope, self-forgetful humility, deep laughter, and uncompromising integrity. Protect and bless their families and their friend circles as well. We ask for the best for those that they love. Protect and bless their communities, their streets, their schools, the businesses, the places of worship, and the organizations that they represent and serve. May it be in their hearts and lives as it is in heaven. And Lord, may it come to be in Boston as it is in heaven. With love and respect for those who may pray in a name other than the one I pray in, but with deep dependence and confidence in you, Lord, I pray in Jesus' name. Amen. Thank you. Thank you.
We will now recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you so much, Reverend Mangrum. I really love that, ridiculous joy. May we wish that upon everyone. We are now on to presentations. Today we have 3 presentations and a photo after that. Yes, okay. Mr. Clerk, could you please amend the record to reflect that Councillor Pepin has now joined us and is present? Thank you. On behalf of myself and the entire City Council, we'll be recognizing the Shadic Award winners. Then Councillor Santana will be recognizing the work of Esther Leadoff and the MRKH organization. And then Councillor Weber has a somber recognition for the passing of Glenn Ingram, who died in a bus accident in Jamaica Plain. And then lastly, we have some terrific students with us here from BINCA. We'll just take a picture with them. So first, I'd like to invite up with me Kara Buckley from the Boston Municipal Research Bureau. She is the co-chair of the Shadic Awards Committee, and I'd like all of the Shadic Award recipients to join us up here. And they can all be seen here as well. So. Awesome. For those who don't know, the Shadic Awards are annual honors presented by the Boston Municipal Research Bureau, where we recognize the outstanding public service and dedication of city employees in Boston and city champions who have made significant contributions to our community. These awards highlight employees who go above and beyond their job duties, demonstrating commitment, innovation, and effectiveness in their roles within various city departments. The Shadic Awards help promote public service by celebrating the accomplishments of those working in government to improve the lives of Boston residents. We thank Martha Walls, the interim president, for being here with us. We thank Erin McGinley, the membership and operations manager for the Boston Municipal Research Bureau, for all their work. We are so honored to honor all of the recipients prior to this meeting with a luncheon, because you all are so deserving of this recognition. I know a number of my colleagues were with you last week when there was for the formal recognition, so we just thank you. You are the front lines, you are customer service reps for the city, you are what makes the city great. You do this work day in and day out and are often unsung heroes, so we are here to sing your praises today and to say congratulations on being Shadic awardees. So I'm now going to pass it off to Kara.
Thank you so much, Madam President. As she mentioned, I am up here representing the Research Bureau. I've been a part of the Bureau for over a decade. I've also had the pleasure of co-chairing this Shadic Awards Committee for about 6 years now. And I will tell you, it is absolutely a highlight of my year because we get to recognize people like the one standing behind me now. I am one of many that serves on a Shadic Awards Committee, and it is a coveted committee. No one ever wants to resign, which is great, and that is because it is such a special honor to be able to get to know individuals like those that you see behind me today. It is a daunting job to be on this committee, as I've shared with some of the honorees, because we receive so many deserving nominations, and each one can come with anywhere up to 20 different letters of support, right? So it's an incredible volume of submissions that we read, but it's an incredibly rewarding moment for all of us, because the words that people put on the page about our honorees are absolutely amazing. They talk about work ethic, they talk about integrity, they talk about willingness to step up and help others. Some of them are even being positioned as life-saving in terms of stepping up at pinnacle moments in a child's life and instilling them with confidence, or being a lifeline during some of the darkest moments in people's lives. So they touch every aspect of this city that we all know and love, and they touch lives every single day. So on behalf of the Research Bureau and on behalf of the Awards Committee, I just want to thank them again from the bottom of my heart for everything that they've done to make this city the wonderful city that it is. Thank you.
And I'd just like to read the names of the recipients, some of whom are here with us, 6 of whom are here with us, and 5 who could not make it, but we have with us Chief Hooley, the city's EMS chief, who is the recipient of the 2024 Shadic Chair Award. We have Michael Curry, who is not present, but is the president and CEO of the Mass League of Community Health Centers. We have Jane Kelly, a teacher and reading specialist in BPS for the past 20 years. Brian McLaughlin, Senior Program Manager for the Public Facilities Department, overseeing planning and construction of all city-owned buildings. Gary Marino, who has served as the Boston Police Department's Community Service Officer in East Boston since 2011. Timothy Braden, Senior Traffic Engineer for Boston Transportation Department, who has worked for the city for more than 30 years, employing what the Bureau called his extensive familiarity with the city's geography, streets, and traffic patterns. Michael Kerr, the Director of Human Resources in the city's Planning Department, where he works hard to make staff feel heard, valued, and part of the process. Robert Lombardo, the Deputy Superintendent of Field Operations for Boston Water and Sewer Commission, who has worked for the city for 36 years. He works in knee-deep waters to ensure drainage issues are fixed. I like that pun. Are fixed and the roads are passable, the Bureau noted. Good job on that pun, Bureau. Our very own Lorraine, business manager for the Boston City Council, who has worked for the city for more than 22 years. Her duties span human resources to procurement, to customer service, to fire drills, to everything we throw at you. So thank you. Tracy Wiggins, a special assistant librarian and circulation supervisor at the Roxbury branch of the Public Library, an employee for over 30 years. Her warm demeanor has earned her the nickname Sparkle. Love that. In the Bureau's opinion, she serves as a great ambassador for the Boston Public Library. And finally, to Pamela D. Everhart, Senior Vice President and Head of Regional Public Affairs, Inclusion, and Impact at Fidelity Investments. She joins Michael Curry as a Shadic City Champion. So on behalf of the entire Boston City Council, we have these resolutions for you. Our very first one is for Lorraine. And Lorraine, I'd love you to, if you'd like to just share a few words. You have the floor and the mic.
Thank you. I'd like to thank everybody on the Boston Municipal Research Bureau for this award. It's really humbling, and I love my job, so I guess I never really work a day in my life. I couldn't do it without the support of everybody on staff here at City Council. I want to thank my family for putting up with me and all the off hours that I might work at times, and thank you again so very much.
If we could have you up, let's see. Okay, Chief Hooley. And these citations say, in recognition of being awarded the Henry L. Shadic Public Service Award, we commend your many years of dedication and service to the city of Boston. Chief Hooley.
Thank you. Thank you. Real quick, there's one thing I really got out of this experience. I followed this for years, but just it makes me think in every city department, all the quasis, all of our agencies, we have so many people that are really worthy of recognition. We could have little mini Shadic awards in every department, but it's good to do it all together, because there are so many unsung people in the city. I'm fortunate I get to work with them all. That's the only reason why I'm here. So, but thank you.
Thank you, Chief Hooley. Next, we have Tracy, AKA Sparkle. You have the mic. Here you go.
I want to say thank you to you, Madam President, for honoring us this morning. The lunch was great. I want to say thank you to all my fellow winners, and thank you to the Bureau. The work that we do is important to each and every one of us. The lives that we touch, it makes everything we do worthwhile. I appreciate this honor, and I thank you guys very much.
Thank you, Tracy. Even your earrings are sparkling. It's real. Okay. Next, we have Officer Gary Marino.
Thank you. Very honored to be here, and thank you very much for having us here. It's an honor and a pleasure. Just real quick, I started this job in 1995 with the City of Boston, and I was fortunate enough to get in the community service officer in 2011. I started the hockey skills program years ago, played hockey my whole life, and to me, it's really not work. I mean, the departments allow me to run this program and, touching kids' lives and helping them with something that's extremely expensive, and we have a free program we can offer. And I did this all with my son, and to be able to do it with the youth of Boston, and brings me way back to, my son was young, and it's an awesome program. I'm fortunate to run it, and like I said, if we can just change, one or two lives, it's worth doing. They look up to us, and we kind of let them know that we're only human. We're police officers, but it's a job. We're dads, we're family men. We go home, we cook, we clean. We're just like everybody else, and that's the goal that I have with the young youth. I just let them know that we're only human, and we have to do. It's a paycheck at the end of the day, and it's worked out great. We built so many friendships with this, so I'm very fortunate, humbled, and congratulations to everybody, and thank you.
Next, we have Robert Lamardo. Robert, here you go. You have the mic.
I'd just like to thank everybody for this opportunity. It's a wonderful thing. The City of Boston is a great place to work. I've been there for 36 years. I've worked with many other city agencies, and I can honestly say as a team, the entire City of Boston works together and keeps things moving the way it should. I've had the opportunity to work with Boston Fire, Boston Police, EMT, everybody in the city, and we are a team, and that's what makes the city work. I'm very proud to be here today, and I thank you all for this opportunity.
And last but not least with us here today, Brian McLaughlin. This is a better mic, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm used to being on the other side. Thank you, Council President. Thank you, Council. Thank you to the Boston Municipal Research Bureau. I work for the department that oversees construction projects for city-owned buildings, schools, libraries, police stations, fire stations. So myself and my department's lucky enough to be in every neighborhood in the city of Boston, provide infrastructure upgrades that really make a difference to all the communities. So I'm the lucky one. I want to thank you guys for everything. That's about it. Thank you, Council.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. And now if my colleagues could come up, thank you for coming to the reception. Now we would love to take a group photo with everyone and also the Boston Municipal Research Bureau. So I see Marty, I see Pierce, I see folks, if you could also come up for the photo, that would be great. Thank you. Come on up. Come on up.
Lorraine, can we see you back there?
Yeah, does everyone have a window? Lorraine, do you have, can we see Lorraine? Okay.
Am I bigger?
Lorraine. Come on, come on.
Lorraine, 10 fingers.
Come here. Oh, okay. Well, I'm sure we're good. Thank you. Thank you again. Thank you again, officer. Thank you, Sparkle.
Thank you so much.
Keep holding here, thebomb.com.
So much.
You're usually coming to us with
Yes,
business.
yes,
Cool.
right,
I'm
yeah.
gonna start,
Looking to get
yeah, there you go. There you go.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, thank you once again. I now want to call to the floor Councilor Santana for his presentation. Councilor Santana, you have the floor in 5 minutes.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Madam President. I want to invite up Esther Ladoff. Lightoff, sorry. Can you come up here? Thank you. It is my honor to be here today to introduce someone who has been a tremendous advocate for the intersex community, Esther Lightoff. Esther, for decades, has worked tirelessly to raise awareness of people with intersex traits and has confronted the stigmas and challenges that many in this community face. As the founder of the MRKH organization, based right here in Boston, Esther has helped countless individuals find the support and understanding they deserve. Esther's contributions go beyond advocacy, having served as a union carpenter and with an extensive background in public health through work with the Boston Public Health Commission, Fenway Health, and other community health organizations. As a medical sociologist, Esther has influenced the national and international conversation on intersex issues. Esther is also the author of the book Not Uncommon, Just Unheard Of, a courageous and groundbreaking narrative that breaks the silence on one of our society's best-kept medical secrets. Before I hand it over to Esther to share some remarks, I also want to take a moment to acknowledge that this upcoming Saturday, October 26th, is Intersex Awareness Day. Later today, I will be asking my colleagues to join me in supporting a legislative resolution recognizing this important day as we continue to foster greater understanding and support for the intersex community. Now I'd like to invite Esther to speak.
Oh, there's a camera there. Okay. Hi. I'd like to thank City Council for making time for intersex awareness on the agenda today. I also want to thank MOLA for welcoming the challenge to be intersex inclusive, aware as intersex advocates, an intersex organization, Matthew Broad and Councilor Santana for collaborating on this resolution. My name is Esther Lightoff. As you just heard, I am the founder and the president of the MRKH organization, which is the oldest operating intersex organization in the country. I am also an intersex survivor. My pronouns are non-existent because my gender identity was neutered by non-consensual surgeries that started in my youth. I was a typical country girl until suddenly I wasn't. My childhood became focused on sexual dysfunction before I knew what that meant. My body was altered to meet social values, but my values were never discussed. I was never told of the frequency of intersex or in the many ways that intersex can present. I was told what is normal and how I should be. Quality of life and emotional support were never part of my care. I went from selling Girl Scout cookies to correcting my sexual dysfunction in one afternoon. But for me, anatomy was not the problem. Losing my autonomy and gender identity to medicalization was the problem. I didn't have a chance to consider interventions, I simply had to have them. Treatment became white coat violence the moment I lost my choice. Once deemed a medical success, I was left to feel that I had drastically failed because my new and normal genitals did not make me feel normal. My feelings became irrelevant, and I have avoided success from that moment on. It remains a constant struggle for me to feel safe in a culture that values diversity in every life form but our own. Intersex erasure is based in a belief that intersex is a disorder of sex development and that people need typical anatomy to have healthy and happy lives. For too many intersex people, non-consensual interventions is where the problem begins. How can anyone know what's best for a child before they are too young to speak, or who hasn't had a chance to know or discover who they truly are? Intersex interventions will never cure intersex. It only prevents others from seeing us. We need to normalize the prevalence of intersex experiences, not intersex body parts. Intersex awareness will pave the way for normalizing our existence. Intersex variations are so quickly disappeared that we don't get a chance to learn about them or how they may mature. The panic of discovery is very real, and that panic is reinforced by an ongoing cycle of ignorance and erasure. Families panic because intersex is still unheard of. Panic hastens unnecessary interventions to make intersex traits go away. Intervention assumes a conclusion that the problem has been solved for everyone but the child. I am still and always will be an intersex person, but now I am an intersex person with scar tissue and psychological trauma that I didn't have before. With each altered child, another will be born into the same cycle of ignorance and erasure. Intersex awareness will alleviate the fear of the unknown. Intersex awareness will ease the panic to make unnecessary and irreversible decisions. Intersex awareness will support 2 to 5% of Boston residents who one day hope to be seen. Intersex awareness gives people a chance to be who they are in a culture hell-bent to hide us. When I talk to people about intersex, they are stunned by what they do not know. Their ignorance is genuine and their concerns are so hopeful. They see how intersex awareness frees everyone from rigid standards. History reminds us that social values can change with awareness. Some cultures regard their gender-expansive people as leaders, elders, two spirits, or gifts from God. In our Western medicalized culture, we have to go public with our privates and plead for basic human rights. It's incredibly hard to do that, but it's even harder to outlive the theft of your soul. I want to close with a quote from Senator Ayanna Pressley. I look forward to the day when no one has to weaponize and relive their trauma to advance justice. Intersex awareness is the only way we can make that happen. Thank you for your time and attention.
Madam President, at this time, I'd like to present a citation to Esther and the MRKH organization in recognition of their unwavering commitment to advocacy and public awareness, which has made a lasting impact on so many lives in Boston and beyond. So, on behalf of myself and the Boston City Council, Esther, in recognition of decades of advocacy for the intersex community and founding MRKH organization in Boston to increase awareness of people with intersex traits and the stigmas and challenges they face. We thank you for your work as both a union carpenter and a long history working with public and community health organizations in Boston, including the Boston Public Health Commission and the Fenway Health. We celebrate your work as a medical sociologist with a background in public health, data management, as well as writing and consulting on intersex issues nationally and internationally. We honor your courage in breaking the silence about one of our best kept medical secrets by authoring the book, Not Uncommon, Just Unheard Of, to tell your own story as a person with intersex traits. Thank you so much, Esther. Can my colleagues just join for a quick picture?
Does everyone have a window?
Oh, wait, is our camera? Oh, Jessica.
Do you see everyone?
Can we see?
Yeah, I know. I always have to tippy top.
Do you want to get in front?
No, you are where you belong. Okay.
Whoa.
Great.
Thank you, Councilor Santana, and thank you, Esther, for those moving remarks and the MRKH organization. Next, I'd like to call up Councilor Weber. Councilor Weber, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. I stand here today to speak for a constituent, Glenn Ingram, who was hit and killed by an MBTA bus on the morning of October 12th while he was crossing Washington Street in front of the Forest Hills T Station. On Monday night, the community held a vigil at that intersection where over 100 residents showed up to mourn Glenn's loss and call for changes to that stretch of road to make it safer. I want to recognize Glenn's brother, who's here today, Glenn's business partner, Sam, who's also here today, and members of the community and friends of Glenn who have organized to advocate for safety improvements in and around the area. I want the community and Glenn's family to know that the council is in conversation with the Boston Police and the Chief of Streets to take a look at the street in front of Forest Hills Station to ensure that a tragedy like this does not happen again. And I would like to thank Chief of Streets Yasha Franklin Hodge, who has already issued a detailed written response with actions that the city is prepared to take immediately at that intersection. Glenn was an uncle, brother, a history teacher, a baseball fan, beloved friend of two Beagles, and as one of his neighbors told me, he found his life's calling as a gardener. I would like to pause for a moment of silence with the agreement of my colleagues here and ask those here in support of Glenn to stand in support of him, his family, and for making changes at Washington Street and Tower to ensure the safety of our pedestrians and bike riders in the future. And just to remember somebody who made a great contribution to Jamaica Plain and is gone too soon. Thank you. Okay, thank you very much for standing, and I look forward to working on this with all of you in the future.
Thank you, Councilor Weber, and thank you to the family of friends of Glenn who are here. May we do the work in your honor. Lastly, I know that there are students here from Binka who are learning about the civic process and who are interviewing some city councilors, and we know that you have to leave it too. So we'd love it if you could come down and we could take a quick photo with you and my council colleagues. Oh, yeah, sure. We can do it in front. Let's do it in front. Thank you so much, Binka, the Boston International Newcomers Academy. We love you. You are the best of our city, Binka, and thank you for all that you do. So get back to school, and we will see you later. Okay. Thank you to everyone for all of your patience with the presentations, and thank you again to all of my colleagues, to the Shadic Award winners, to Esther, to MRKH, and to the memory of Glenn Ingram. We are now on to the first order of business, which is the approval of the minutes from the meeting of October 9th, 2024. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. Let the record reflect that there is one nay. Is there a substantive change recommended with that nay, or is that just a disapproval of the minutes?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm still waiting on my 17F request from the Boston Housing Authority relating to elevator inspection, maintenance related issues. It's an important issue. I want to make sure residents in public housing have safe, reliable elevators throughout the BHA system. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, note that there is no substantive amendment recommended for the minutes of October 9th, and that is just a nay vote. The minutes of the last meeting are approved. We are now moving on to communications from Her Honor the Mayor. Mr. Clerk, if you could please read the first docket.
Docket number 1542, message and order authorizing the City of Boston to accept and expend the amount of $1,349,531.24 in the form of a grant for the federal fiscal year 24 Shelter and Service Program competitive grant awarded by the United States Department of Homeland Security, passed through the Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities, to be administered by the Mayor's Office of Housing. The grant will fund the increase of capacity to shelter non-citizen migrants recently released from DHS custody, including renovations and modifications to existing facilities.
Thank you. Docket number 1542 will be referred to the Committee on Housing and Community Development. Mr. Clerk, would you please read docket number 1543?
Docket number 1543, message and order authorizing the City of Boston to accept and expend the amount of $1,202,560.90 in the form of a grant for the fiscal year 2023 Assistance to Firefighters Grant Program, awarded by the Federal Emergency Management Agency, to be administered by the Fire Department. The grant will fund critically needed resources that equip and train emergency personnel to recognize standards, enhance operational efficiencies, foster interoperability, and support community resilience.
Thank you. Docket number 1543 will be referred to the Committee on Public Safety and Criminal Justice. Mr. Clerk, would you please read docket number 1544?
Docket number 1544, message and order authorizing the City of Boston to accept and expend an amount of $999,896 in the form of a grant for the federal fiscal year 24 Shelter and Services Program allocated grant awarded by the United States Department of Homeland Security, passed through the Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities, to be administered by the Mayor's Office of Housing. The grant will fund the increase of capacity to shelter non-citizen migrants recently released from DHS custody, including renovations and modifications to existing facilities.
Thank you. Docket number 1544 will be referred to the Committee on Housing and Community Development. Mr. Clerk, could you please read docket number 1545?
Docket number 1545, message and order authorizing the City of Boston to accept and expend the amount of $307,304 in the form of a grant for the fiscal year 25 DMHCIT TTAC grant awarded by the Mass Department of Mental Health, to be administered by the Police Department. The grant will fund the implementation of 40-hour crisis intervention team training for officers under the umbrella of the BBD Street Outreach Unit.
Mr. Clerk, could you also read 1546?
Docket number 1546, message and order authorizing the City of Boston to accept and expend the amount of $280,065 in the form of a grant for the fiscal year 24 DNA Capacity Enhancement and Backlog Reduction Program awarded by the United States Department of Justice to be administered by the Police Department. The grant will fund 2 criminalist positions, overtime, lab supplies, equipment, and continuing education expenses.
Thank you. Dockets number 1545 and 1546 will be referred to the Committee on Public Safety and Criminal Justice. Mr. Clerk, would you please read docket number 1547?
Docket number 1547, message and order authorizing the City of Boston to accept and expend the amount of $166,000 in the form of a grant for the VBS Senior Center Grant awarded by the donor group to be administered by the Age Strong Commission. The grant will fund the support of the Senior Service Center expenditures.
Thank you. Docket number 1547 will be referred to the Committee on Strong Women, Families, and Communities. Mr. Clerk, would you please read docket number 1548?
Docket number 1548, message and order authorizing the City of Boston to accept and expend the amount of $29,496 in the form of a grant for the fiscal year 24 Port Security Grant Program awarded by the United States Department of Homeland Security to be administered by the Police Department. The grant will fund the purchase of a new collar for the 38-foot safe boat duty vessel.
Thank you. Docket number 1548 will be referred to the Committee on Public Safety and Criminal Justice. Mr. Clerk, would you please read docket number 1549?
Docket number 1549, message and order authorizing the City of Boston to accept and expend the amount of $10,000 in the form of a grant for the LGBTQ mental health plan awarded by United Healthcare Community Plan of Massachusetts to be administered by the Mayor's Office of LGBTQ plus Advancement. The grant will fund community efforts to combat substance abuse and mental illness disparities among the LGBTQ plus community.
Thank you. Docket number 1549 will be referred to the Committee on Public Safety, Homelessness, and Recovery. Mr. Clerk, would you please read docket number 1550?
Docket number 1550, message transmitting certain information under Section 17F pertaining to school bus data. Docket number 1446, passed by the Council on September 25th, 2024.
Would you like to speak on the matter, or is it a point of order? A point of order?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to request, pursuant to Rule 21, that you, as the President, remand this response to the Mayor as it did not comply with the request. The response to the request for the time the last student is dropped off from each bus route was responded with, Boston Public Schools Department of Transportation does not collect this data. I called Dan Rosengard because I know this is not true. He did say they collect it, but it's a lot of data, something I told him I'm okay with. And I do want to highlight that docket 0476, in order for a hearing on technological improvements in Boston School Bus, which was a hearing chaired by Councilor Pepin several months back, discussed the Zoom app, which we have invested in, which is an improved platform for parents, guardians, and school to track the student school buses. This new app views your student school bus assignment, tracks your student rides in real time, and receives alerts when the school bus is arriving. And something I did talk to Dan. It's something we always collected before, but I do know with this new app it's easier to compile that data. So I am asking through you that we remand this to get the correct answer, please.
Thank you, Councilor Murphy. At this time, I will not remand it. I will review the responses, and I will work with your office to get the answers. And if at another point that's required, we will.
There was no response, though. So the response was, we don't have an answer. So it's not that they sent something. The answer was, we don't have that data.
Okay, I understand that. And so I will work with them and talk with them also, because I was not aware of that conversation. And so I will have that discussion with them. And in the future, should remand be something that, in my discretion, that I want us to do, we will do that. But at this point, I will not be remanding it.
Thank you.
You are welcome. Mr. Clerk, would you please read docket numbers 1551 to 1557? Oh, docket number 1550 is placed on file. Mr. Clerk, would you please read dockets number 1551 to 1557?
Docket number 1551, notice was received from the mayor regarding the home rule petition on property tax classification passed by the City Council on June 5th, 2024. Docket number 1552, notice was received from the mayor of her absence from the city on Monday, October 21st, 2024, from 11:20 a.m., returning on 9:17 p.m. Docket number 1553, notice was received from Scott Finn, City Auditor, of the appointment of Timothy Mathis as Deputy City Auditor effective October 26, 2024. Docket number 1554, notice was received from the City Clerk in accordance of Chapter 6 of the Ordinances of 1979 relative to action taken by the Mayor on papers acted upon by the City Council at its meeting of September 25th, 2024. Docket number 1555, notice was received from the City Clerk in accordance of Chapter 6 of the Ordinances of 1979 relative to action taken by the Mayor on papers acted upon by the City Council at its meeting of October 2nd, 2024. Docket number 1556, communication received from the City Clerk of the filing by the Boston Planning and Development Agency regarding proposed minor modification to the Washington Park Urban Renewal Plan, project number Mass R-24, with respect to parcels S-12B and S-12C. Docket number 1557, communication received from Councilor Flynn regarding docket number 1303, property tax exemption for veterans.
Thank you. These dockets will be placed on file. We are now on to reports of committees. Mr. Clerk, would you please read docket number 1165?
Docket number 1165, the Committee on Housing and Community Development, to which was referred on August 7, 2024. Docket number 1165, message and order authorizing the City of Boston to accept and expend the amount of $75 million in the form of a grant for the Commonwealth Builder program awarded by the Massachusetts Housing Finance Agency to be administered by the Mayor's Office of Housing. Submits a report recommending that the order ought to pass in a new draft.
Thank you. The chair of the committee, the chair recognizes the chair of the Committee on Housing and Community Development, Councilor Braden. Councilor Braden, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. The Committee on Housing and Community Development held a virtual public hearing on this docket via Zoom on Friday, October 18th. In attendance were Councillors Coletta Zapata, City Council President Louis Jean, Councillor Worrell. Administration panellists representing the Mayor's Office of Housing included Mr. Rick Wilson, Director of Administration and Finance, and Ms. Christine O'Keefe, Director of Neighbourhood Housing. Mr. Wilson and Ms. O'Keefe discussed the Commonwealth Builder Fund and provided an overview of the Mayor's Office of Housing anticipated use of the funds. The Commonwealth Builder programme is administered by Mass Housing to support the development of moderate income home ownership units by providing grants and forgivable subordinate construction loans. Eligible projects in Boston must offer deed-restricted affordability ownership units for households earning up to 100% of the area median income. The Mayor's Office of Housing awards funds to projects and takes the lead on construction monitoring and ongoing compliance. In September of 2021, the City Council voted to authorise the acceptance and expenditure of $25 million in Commonwealth Builder funds, and the City Council authorised an additional $25 million in September of 2023. A total of $50 million in Commonwealth Builder funds have supported the creation of 299 homeownership units across Boston to date, including in Dorchester, East Boston, Jamaica Plain, Mattapan and Roxbury. The administration informed the committee that due to a clerical error, the docket was filed with an incorrect amount of $75 million. A new draft presented today for acceptance reflects the corrected amount to $50 million. With acceptance of this grant, the cumulative funding received from the Massachusetts Mass Housing's Commonwealth Builder Fund will total $100 million. The Mayor's Office of Housing anticipates that this $50 million will support the creation of at least 300 additional affordable homeownership units. As Chair of the Committee on Housing and Community Development, I recommend that docket 1165 ought to pass in a new draft, correcting the amount from $75 million to $50 million. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Councillor Braden. The Chair of the Committee on Housing and Community Development seeks acceptance of the committee report and passage of docket number 1165 in a new draft. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. Thank you. The committee report has been accepted and docket number 1165 has passed in a new draft. We are now on to matters recently heard. Mr. Clerk, would you please read docket number 1210?
Docket number 1210, order for a hearing to support the creation of lending libraries to benefit residents and reduce wasteful purchases.
Thank you. The Chair recognizes the Chair of the Committee on City Services and Innovation Technology, Councilor Pepin. You have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. On Monday, we held a hearing on creating a new resource for Bostonians, lending libraries, what one of our panelists called an amenity of the future. The committee heard testimony from a panel of advocates and a panel of city and library employees to discuss the community interest, the public benefits, and the city precedents for lending services. Our community advocates included representatives from a Rosendale group of neighbors committed to sharing tools and appliances through social media, and a Roxbury home improvement business that empowers residents to become familiar with tools, and executive director of the nonprofit of the Chicago Tool Library, one of the largest tool libraries in the world. We also heard from the Mayor's Office of New Urban Mechanics and the Boston Public Library about their experiences, difficulties, and successes with their own lending programs. The panelists shared their stories and communicated to us about the great personal, environmental, and financial benefits of establishing and investing in a lending library in the city of Boston. I wanted to thank Councilor Flynn and Councilor Murphy for their input in the hearing, asking important questions regarding the potential difficulties of such a program and what exactly the city's role should be in stewarding the future growth of lending services in Boston. Their contributions have informed how we can plan to go about creating this service, possibly a pilot that my team is researching the feasibility on, and I'm excited to keep working on this effort for our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Pepin. Docket number 1210 will remain in committee. Mr. Clerk, would you please read docket number 1035?
Docket number 1035, order for a hearing to discuss causes of increases in Boston Police overtime spending.
Thank you. The Chair recognizes Councilor Worrell, the Chair of the Committee on Ways and Means. Councilor Worrell, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. The Ways and Means Committee on Monday, October 21st, held a working session on docket number 1035 to explore potential solutions for Boston Police overtime. This matter was sponsored by Council Weber, Council President Louis Jen, and myself. At the working session, we had participation from several councilors, including Councilors Flynn, Councilors Murphy, Council Fitzgerald, Council Weber, Council Durkin, and Council President Louis Jen. And we also received a letter of absence from Council Santana. During the session, we discussed recommendations for managing overtime, including reevaluating police presence at special events, ensuring minimum staffing levels are data-driven, and consider a police overtime dashboard for greater transparency. The conversation also focused on court overtime, recruiting, and the need for more flexible staffing schedules. The Council will continue working on gathering the necessary data from the administration and will aim to develop policy recommendations to address these issues. As Chair Ways and Means, I recommend this docket will remain in committee for further action, and I also like to give Council Weber an opportunity to address the floor.
Thank you. Councilor Weber, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President, and thank you to the Chair, Councilor Worrell. I thought we had a productive discussion about how to look at overtime spending in the police department as we gear up for another review of the budget, and we were able to identify which areas could be addressed through future collective bargaining agreements, and which can be addressed by management and changing of policies to make sure that we are both ensuring safety in our communities, but also cutting down on needless spending on overtime that is not benefiting our community. And I look forward to working with my colleagues on this as we go forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Weber. Mr. Clerk, would you please read docket number 1205? Oh, docket number 1035 will remain in committee.
Yep.
Mr. Clerk, could you please read docket number 1205?
Docket number 1205, order for a hearing to discuss ways to provide critical public safety support and address quality of life issues relating to the crisis at Mass and Cass.
Thank you. The chair recognizes the chair of the Committee on Public Safety and Criminal Justice, Councilor Santana. You have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. The Committee on Public Safety and Criminal Justice held a public hearing on docket number 1205 yesterday, Tuesday, October 22, 2024, to discuss ways to provide a critical public safety support and address quality of life issues related to the crisis at Mass and Cass. This matter was sponsored by Councilors Ed Flynn, Tanya Fernandez-Anderson, and myself, Henry Santana. We were also joined by my colleagues, Councilor Julia Mejia, Councilor Aaron Murphy, and Council President Ruth Louis-Jen. The committee also received letters of absence from Councilor Enrique Pepen and Councilor Brian Worrell. The committee heard testimony from a panel of 4 members of the administration: Deputy Superintendent Dan Humphreys, Kelly Jung, who's the Director of Coordinated Response Team, Dr. Brisola Ojikutu, the Commissioner of Public Health, and Jalaika Caldenas, who's the Interim Director for the Bureau of Recovery Services. As a variety of residents and organizations experience impacts related to this matter, to hear more voices, the committee invited a number of nonprofit and community representatives, and committee provided extended time for each of them to testify. On behalf of the committee, I extend our thanks to Linda Soblocki, who's with the Andrew Square Civic Association, Peter Barputo, who's the President and CEO of the Gavin House, Karen LaFrasia, President and CEO of the St. Francis House, Ed Cameron, who's the Senior Director of Outreach at the Pine Street Inn, and Jonathan Alves with the Blackstone Franklin Square Neighborhood Association and the South End Business Alliance, and David Stone with the Blackstone Franklin Square Neighborhood Association. The committee further heard testimony from a second panel about the business and community impacts. Our second panel included Sue Sullivan, who's the Executive Director of the New Market Bid, Cheryl Sean Deck, who's the Chief Operating Officer for the Greater Boston Food Bank, Brian Leeming, who's the Vice President with the Development and Construction Edens, which manages the South Bay Center, Cassie Hurd, who's the Executive Director of the Material Aid and Advocacy Program, and Steve Fox with the South End Forum. The committee also heard additional public testimony from several community members. As chair of the Committee on Public Safety and Criminal Justice, I want to thank the panelists, members of the public, and my colleagues for their participation in yesterday's hearing. And again, many thanks to Councilors Flynn and Fernandez-Anderson for sponsoring this hearing and including me as an original co-sponsor. It is my recommendation as chair that this docket should remain in committee at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. Docket number 1205 will remain in committee. Mr. Clerk, would you please read docket number 1303?
Docket number 1303, order to increase veterans' property tax exemption.
Thank you. The chair recognizes Councilor Worrell, the chair of the Committee on Ways and Means. You have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. The Ways and Means Committee on Tuesday, October 22nd, held a working session on docket number 1303 to increase veterans' property tax exemption. This matter was sponsored by Council President Louis-Jen and myself. We're joined by Commissioner Rob Santiago of the city's Veterans Department and Commissioner Nick Arenello of the Assessing Department. We have participation from the Council President Louis-Jen and Council Weber, and received letters of absence from Councilors Murphy, Santana, and Pepin, as well as the letter of recusal from Councilor Flynn, which was introduced earlier at this meeting and read into the record yesterday. The original hearing order included language to opt into Chapter 59, Section 5, Clause 22I and Clause 22J, which were both added as options through the HERO Act. However, 22J is something that the city already does, so I've amended the order to only include Clause 22I, which will allow the city to automatically increase the exemption for a cost of living adjustment. This is directly tied to the Consumer Price Index set by the U.S. Department of Labor, and this will go into effect for fiscal year 26, which begins on July 1st. During the hearing, Commissioner Santiago detailed all the numerous events that the city is planning in honor of the upcoming Veterans Day. Commissioner Arenello said the exemption effort has the support of the administration, and they are hopeful similar tools will be passed at the State House to give seniors a similar increase. He also detailed how veterans need to reapply for the exemption every year, unlike the homeowner exemption. He also shared statistics on the veterans exemptions in fiscal year 2024 that included exemptions for 1,156 veterans that totaled $1,123,969.68. We discussed outreach claims for coordinators, as well as campaigns to ensure veterans homeowners are collecting this claim annually. As chair of the Committee on Ways and Means, I recommend that this ought to pass on a new draft.
Thank you, Councilor Orell, and thank you for holding that hearing yesterday. I want to thank Commissioners Santiago and Arenello for being here and for all the work that they do on behalf of the city and on behalf of our veterans. If no one else would like to speak on this matter, Councilor Orell, the chair of the Committee on Ways and Means, seeks acceptance of the committee report and passage of docket number 1303 in a new draft. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. Thank you. The committee report has been accepted and docket number 1303 has passed in a new draft. We are now on to motions, orders, and resolutions. We will be taking two dockets out of order. Mr. Clerk, if you could please read the first docket, which is docket number 1571, into the record.
Docket number 1571, Councilors Coletta, Zapata, and Flynn offered the following. Resolution standing in solidarity with Unite Here Local 26, Boston Hotel Workers.
Thank you. The chair recognizes Councilor Coletta Zapata. You have the floor.
Thank you so much, Madam President, and I'd like to add Councilor Weber as third sponsor. Suspend Rule 12.
Councilor Weber?
Yes.
Councilor Coletta Zapata seeks suspension of the rules to add Councilor Weber as a third original co-sponsor. Seeing and hearing no objections, Councilor Weber is so added. Councilor Coletta Zapata, you have the floor.
Thank you so much, and I want to be sure to recognize Councilor Santana and Durkin for their work on an ordinance that is before this body and committee that is codifying certain regulations and protections for hotel workers. I am just so honored to present this resolution in partnership with Councilor Flynn in support of the courageous members of Unite Here Local 26, who represent the strength, diversity, and resilience of Boston's hotel workers. Thank you all so much for taking the time out of your day and leaving the picket line to join us here. And you all show up and show out. It's incredible to see, so thank you so much. These workers are frontline ambassadors for our cities. They are among the first to welcome travelers, ensure visitors have an exceptional experience in Boston. And yet, Boston hotels continue to thrive with room rates and revenues far surpassing pre-pandemic levels. Many of these workers are still struggling to make ends meet. They're not asking for the moon, they're asking for dignity, fair pay, and basic benefits. In a union city like Boston, one job should be enough. The workers of Unite Here Local 26 have done everything in their power to secure fair wages and safe working conditions. After months of negotiations and historic contract wins, they still find themselves on an indefinite strike at the Boston Hilton Logan Airport in my district and at the Park Plaza. These workers are fighting not just for themselves, but for their families and future generations. They want to live in the same city they work in, raise their families here, and retire with dignity. It's a simple request, but it's a powerful one. They deserve wages that reflect the cost of living in Boston, and they deserve benefits that everyone should have in 2024: paid family leave, sick time, and vacation. This resolution is not about words, it's about action. We commit to honoring this strike, and so therefore I will not be crossing any picket lines and encourage my colleagues to do the same, and we encourage all of Boston to reflect our behavior. Today, we send a clear message to hotel management. You cannot continue to profit off of the hard work of your employees while denying them the basic standards of respect. Boston hotel workers are the heart of this city, and it's time they are treated that way. Let us remember that when workers stand together, they win. And when they win, we all win, because their fight is a fight for dignity, fairness, and a better future for all of us. Thank you so much.
The chair recognizes Councilor Flynn. Councilor Flynn, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you to Councilor Coletta for working and partnering with me and Councilor Weber, and I know others as well, including Councilor Mejia has done a lot of great work in support of working men and women as well. I have a long history with the Unite 26 and the men and women of this culinary union. As Councilor Coletta mentioned,
I'm sorry, if we could just make sure that we silence our cell phones. Apologies, Councilor Flynn. Councilor Flynn, you have the floor.
as Councilor Coletta mentioned, the first visitors that come to Boston, the first people they see are the members of Local 26, the men and women that do exceptional work in our hotels and our restaurants. They treat our tourists with respect, with professionalism. They welcome them to Boston. They want to make sure that they have a good trip here, spending time with their family or participating in a conference. But what has happened over the years is their wages have not kept up. And we have seen attacks on working men and women here in this city and across the country. And Local 26 and the men and women of Local 26 have always talked about one job should be enough, and it should be enough, but it really isn't in this city. You're barely making it to pay your mortgage, to put milk and bread on the table for your family, or to pay for a prescription drug. But what you have is an exceptional union that advocates for you, that fights for your family, that fights for dignity and respect of workers. And no one's giving you anything. You've earned these rights by spending time on the picket line, by your professional work in the hotels, by treating visitors with respect. You are our neighbors, family members. You're active in our community. You are coaches in the Little League program. You mentor kids. You're part of the city. You give back. You're always giving back to make Boston the wonderful city and compassionate city it is. You're not asking for a lot. You're not asking to be wealthy. You're not asking to be rich, but you're asking to pay your bills so you can support your families. And that's what every family wants, is the ability to pay their bills and send their kids to school. But I also see a lot of workers in this city going into a store and they'll look at a can of soup, and the soup may say $1.99 on it, and they'll put the soup back down, and they would say, I'm not buying this can of soup because I don't have $1.99. I have $1.40. But that's what your union does for you. They fight for fair wages, for respect, for dignity. If we didn't have a strong union in Boston, we would have workers making low wages without safety in the workplace. But I'm honored to be here with you, with my colleagues that have always supported the men and women of Local 26 Unite here. And you're part of this city. You make Boston the wonderful city it is. And we'll support you on the picket line today, tomorrow, and every day of the year until you get justice. Thank you.
Thank you. The chair recognizes Thank you. The chair recognizes Councilor Weber. You have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President, and thank you to Councilors Coletta Zapata and Councilor Flynn for adding me as a co-sponsor to this resolution. I want to congratulate the workers at the Omni Hotel and Unite Here Local 26 in their recent victory in securing a contract, and I hope that this acts as a motivation for those still striking and as a signal to those continuing not to negotiate in good faith that they need to come to the table. As an attorney, I represented too many workers who struggled under terrible working conditions and did not have the benefit of a union to secure any gains. The fact that we need to have workers go on strike just to be paid a living wage in the city is not how this should work. We should have labor peace agreements that require employers to come to the table and negotiate in good faith. I stand in strong support of Unite Here Local 26 members who are asserting their rights for a higher wage. I think I read this morning, there's an MIT study done recently that said that in Massachusetts, a living wage is approximately $27, $28 an hour. The fact that people have to fight for less than that and still struggle to make a living here is not right. I thank my colleagues for adding me to this, and I strongly support the union members here and their right to strike, and I really hope that they can get the gains that they're looking for so they can continue to live here alongside me and my colleagues. Thank you.
Thank you. The chair recognizes Councilor Santana. Councilor Santana, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. And I want to thank the lead sponsors, Gabriela Carrera Zapata, Councilor Ed Flynn, and Councilor Weber for introducing this. And I want to thank the workers who are here with us today. I don't want to repeat anything that's being said. I just want to stand with our workers today. As an immigrant myself, I know there's many of our immigrants are represented in this room. También sé que también hay mucha gente latina aquí. And I just want to be able to stand strongly in support of this resolution, in support of our workers here in the city of Boston. As Councilor Weber said, should not be the way that we should have to do business here in the city of Boston. But I thank you all for taking up this fight. And as Councilor Flynn said, we'll continue to fight today, tomorrow, and every day of the year if we have to. So I stand with you all. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. And I want to be clapping along with everyone. I just do want to, I need to state that. Technically, we shouldn't be clapping in chambers, although I want to clap with all of you. So, okay, the chair recognizes Councilor Pepin. Councilor Pepin, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. I stand in support here because when I look at the room and look at those red T-shirts, I see family. I see the backbone of the city, the people that you work your tails off day and night. And the fact that you make the city of Boston a welcoming place by really adding value to the workplace that you are working in every single day. And when there's tourists coming in, when there's people staying in the hotels that you guys work in, people love it, right? So let's make sure that the workers that are doing the job get what they deserve so that you can also call Boston a good place to live in. And that's why I'm standing in support, because when I see you guys, I see people that truly maintain the city of Boston. So thank you for the work you do. I look forward to being an ally in everything that you do. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Pepin. The chair recognizes Councilor Durkin. Councilor Durkin, you have the floor.
Thank you so much, and thank you so much to the sponsors for sponsoring this. Local 26, I've joined you on the picket line at the Newbury Hotel, at the Omni Parker House, it's been, when I talk directly with you and your members, it's clear that you love your jobs, that you love your city, and that you want to get back to that job, but you can't do it when you can't pay your bills, and you can't do it when you don't have health care, and you can't do it when you don't have those core things that you need to survive and live and thrive. Our hospitality workers do more for this city and more for tourism than any other industry. That's you. You bring folks to the city, you serve them a drink, you clean their room, you do all the things that are necessary for someone to have a great trip. You're the face of the city. And I want you to get back to work, but we can't do that without the right terms. So I urge my constituents not to cross a picket line, not to patronize a hotel that is on strike and doesn't have a finalized agreement. And I urge the hotels to come to the table and get this done. Thank you.
Thank you. The chair recognizes Councilor Fernandez-Anderson. You have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Just wanted to be really quick and thank you all. I know that it's sort of strange that we're taking our time in speaking, but it's so important as you wait there, as we've said, we joined the picket line maybe once or twice, nothing compared to what you go through. The very small change in that you're asking for to offer you dignity makes a huge difference in your life. But for us to stand here and talk about this, and then to be able to, we have to pass a resolution, then you have to go to the state, then you have to fight, then you have to picket, then you have families and responsibility, all to ask for some dignity. And I wonder, when is enough enough, right? Make them pay. That's right, make them pay. And we'll continue to strike. We'll continue to support you. We know what you stand for. And I thank Jamie and all of your representatives from the union who stand with you every single time to fight. My grandmother worked 33 years in a hotel. And as I said, I learned how to fix beds and do things by just visiting on the weekend and understanding the pain and the bodily things that you go through, not only with the systemic racism and the different discrimination that you go through, how you are treated. And then on top of that, to go to your bosses and to be able to ask, can I just have this one little change just so that I can respectfully, with dignity, take care of my family. Merci pour mouvement, merci pour bataille, and thank you so much. Obrigado por tudo que está ali caverdiano da luta. Gracias por todo, por luchar por tu corazón, por tu dolor, por todo, por la lágrima. Gracias y continuamos a decir, a veces decimos patria o muerte, aquí decimos dignidad o muerte. Continuamos a luchar. Thank you so much.
Thank you. The chair recognizes Councilor Fitzgerald. You have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. I stand in support of Local 26 as well. Much like what we had the Shadic Award winners in here earlier, and we just spoke in the other room with them about how they provide us as a council and as the city of Boston so much opportunity, because really a lot of politics and what we do at the city is the hospitality industry. But when you talk about where we are, our reputation as a city on a global scale, or on the national scale, and the things that are allowed to come to the city because people are welcomed here, think it's clean, and think it's a great place to have conferences and things that bring us economic development. You folks are the folks that welcome all those people in. And when they go home, where they go, wherever they came from, they come back and say, hey, we did it, we went to Boston. Great time, great city, we were welcomed, we were treated with respect, we had great service. All things that continue to make us an economic driver for the rest of the state in New England, and you guys literally do the groundwork of making them feel that way. So thank you for allowing us the opportunity to get to make so many great decisions because we have so many opportunities from you. Thank you.
Thank you. The chair recognizes Councilor Mejia. Councilor Mejia, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President, and thank you to the sponsors for bringing this onto the floor. I always often talk about the fact that my mom is 75 years old and still too poor to retire because she's never had union representation. And you want to talk about dignity. You want to talk about being an immigrant and coming here to this country with a suitcase full of dreams. And oftentimes it feels like a nightmare because your labor, right, is never recognized and valued. And that's what this strike is all about, is making sure that we're holding those people accountable who are making millions off of your backs, who are doing business in the city of Boston but not respecting Bostonians, right? This is what this means. I got a call from Jamie a few weeks ago. I was going to be honored at a hotel that was on the do not patron list. I didn't even know, right? And this particular nonprofit organization was celebrating its 75th anniversary, and I was one of the recipients of an award. I decided not to go because this is what it looks like when we stand in solidarity. And so it is important for us to not just say that we stand with you, but when we have the opportunity to do that, do it. And so that is my commitment to you all, is to utilize our social media platform and our microphones, because I always say, I am not your voice, I am your microphone. And if there's anything that you need for us to amplify, you know I'm here for it. So we're gonna keep on fighting, which is a shame that we have to do. But at the end of the day, if we don't, they're going to take advantage of someone else. So this is the opportunity to stand tall, stand in that power, and let them know that hell no, we won't go, period.
Thank you. Thank you to all the sponsors and to all of my colleagues for their work as we stand united with Local 26 and with all of you. So many of us, we recognize your faces from the picket lines. Like one of my colleagues stated, you're there every single day. And we stand with you in solidarity from day one. You know, this morning, my office was ready to go to a breakfast at one of the hotels in East Boston, but that breakfast was canceled, as it rightfully should have been canceled, until all of you have a contract. And I want to make sure that the hotels are listening, that the Hilton is listening, that the longer this strike goes, the more business you lose. It is to their detriment to not come to an agreement, so that you who hold up our hotels every single day can make sure that you can live in the city that you take care of and that you nurture. So I want to thank Local 26. Councilor Fernandez Anderson already shouted out in Creole, but moi voulais dire nous que nous camper ensemble avec nous. Tout haïtien moi yo, moi là, moi camper avec nous, nous camper jam. We stand with you in solidarity. So many of my family members are part of Local 26, so this is a personal matter. We stand with you today, tomorrow, and every day until you get the contract that you deserve. So thank you, and thank you again to my colleagues. Is anyone else looking to speak on this matter? Would anyone else like to add their name? Mr. Clerk, please add Councilors Braden, Durkin, Fernandez Anderson, Fitzgerald, Mejia, Murphy, Pepin, Santana, Worrell. Please add the chair. Councilors Coletta Zapata, Flynn, and Weber, suspension of the rules and passage of docket number 1571. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Mr. Clerk, will you please conduct a roll call vote?
Roll call vote on docket number 1571. Councilor Braden.
Yes.
Councilor Braden, yes. Councilor Coletta Zapata.
Yes.
Councilor Coletta Zapata, yes. Councilor Durkin.
Yes.
Councilor Durkin, yes. Councilor Fernandez Anderson.
Yes.
Councilor Fernandez Anderson, yes. Councilor Fitzgerald.
Yes.
Councilor Fitzgerald, yes. Councilor Flynn.
Yes.
Councilor Flynn, yes. Councilor Louisiane.
Yes.
Councilor Louisiane, yes. Councilor Mejia. Councilor Mejia, C. Councilor Murphy.
Yes.
Councilor Murphy, yes. Councilor Pepin.
Yes.
Councilor Pepin, yes. Councilor Santana.
Yes.
Councilor Santana, yes. Councilor Weber.
Yes.
Councilor Weber, yes. And Councilor Worrell.
Yes.
Councilor Worrell, yes. Docket number 1571 has received a unanimous vote in the affirmative.
Thank you. Thank you. Docket number 1571 has been adopted. I know that the co-sponsors would like to take a photo, so if we could have everyone come probably right here. I know. You all roll really deep, so this is going to be a really intense photo. Thank you again to Local 26 and to the co-sponsors of that resolution and to my colleagues. We have one more docket to take out of order, and that is docket number 1570. Mr. Clerk, would you please read docket number 1570?
Docket number 1570, Councilor Santana offered the following. Resolution recognizing October 26, 2024 as Intersex Awareness Day.
Thank you. The chair recognizes Councilor Santana. Councilor Santana, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. I am proud to introduce this resolution recognizing Intersex Awareness Day, a day that originated right here in Boston in 1996. This day marks the first public demonstration by intersex individuals in the United States, held at the annual conference of the American Academy of Pediatrics in Boston. Today, we honor their courage and their advocacy. It's crucial that we say the word intersex out loud, understand its meaning, and use it properly. Intersex refers to individuals with innate variations in their physical sex characteristics, including external anatomy, reproductive organs, hormonal function, and/or chromosal patterns. Intersex traits are more common than many realize, affecting at least 1.7% of the people, and based on more recent studies, likely closer to 5% of the people. That's roughly somewhere between 1 in 59 people and 1 in every 20 people. So if you know 50 people, odds are you know someone who is intersex. Yet, due to the lack of awareness and education, many intersex individuals face significant social stigma, health inequities, and mental health challenges. Some people with innate variations of sex characteristics choose to openly identify themselves as intersex, while some do not or are unable to safely do so, particularly if fears of stigma, different risks for their socioeconomic status, or losing family, friends, and community connections. We must also acknowledge that intersex people, like anyone else, can have any gender identity. It's essential that we respect them without making assumptions about their physical traits or identities. It's crucial to work towards improved awareness and education about intersex so that more people with intersex characteristics realize that they are not alone or unusual and have a greater opportunity to live openly and authentically, as well as more ability to connect with others with similar experiences. Babies and children with variations in their sex characteristics are often subjected without their own informed consent to permanent surgeries and other interventions to make their bodies conform to stereotypical expectations of what it means to look like, behave as, or be male or female. There is an extensive evidence that performing these surgeries without consent causes lasting physical and psychological harm, so it's critical that we advocate for medically unnecessary procedures to be delayed until children are old enough to participate in decisions about their bodies themselves. In Boston, we have already made strides through organizations like Boston Children's Hospital, Fenway Health, and the Massachusetts Medical Society, and the Massachusetts Commission on LGBTQ+ Youth. But we can and must do more, and I am committed to that. And I ask my colleagues to commit not only to recognizing Intersex Awareness Day, but also taking proactive actions to create a healthier, safer, and more supportive environment for our Boston intersex community members. All Bostonians benefit from creating a society that respects and accommodates people beyond the traditional binary, and today we have a step forward towards that vision. I'd like to extend my thanks to all the folks at the MRKH organization, Interact, and the Massachusetts Commission on LGBTQ+ Youth, who have all been partners in this work. I hope my colleagues will join me in support of this resolution, and I would like to ask to suspend the rules so that we can vote and pass this resolution today. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Santana. Is anyone else looking to speak on this matter? Again, I want to thank all the organizations that are here today, and thank you for elevating your voice and bringing your stories into the chamber so that we can educate ourselves and also educate the public on intersex issues and Intersex Awareness Day. Councilor Santana seeks suspension of the rule. Would anyone else like to add their name? Mr. Clerk, please add Councilors Braden, Caleta Zapata, Durkin, Fernand Anderson, Fitzgerald, Flynn, Mejia, Murphy, Pepin, Weber, Worrell. Please add the chair. Councilor Santana seeks suspension of the rules and adoption of docket number 1570. All those in favor say aye. Mr. Clerk, can you please conduct a roll call vote?
Roll call vote on docket number 1570. Councilor Braden. Yes. Councilor Braden, yes. Councilor Coletta Zapata, yes. Councilor Durkin. Yes. Councilor Durkin, yes. Councilor Fernandez Anderson. Yes. Councilor Fernandez Anderson, yes. Councilor Fitzgerald. Yes. Councilor Fitzgerald, yes. Councilor Flynn. Yes. Councilor Flynn, yes. Councilor Louisan.
Yes.
Councilor Louisan, yes. Councilor Mejia. Councilor Mejia, yes. Councilor Murphy. Yes. Councilor Murphy, yes. Councilor Pepin. Yes. Councilor Pepin, yes. Councilor Santana. Yes. Councilor Santana, yes. Councilor Weber. Yes. Councilor Weber, yes. And Councilor Worrell. Yes. Councilor Worrell, yes. Docket number 1570 has received a unanimous vote in the affirmative.
Thank you. Docket number 1570 has been adopted. We are now going back to our regular order under motions, orders, and resolutions. Thank you, Mr. Clerk, for your flexibility, and to central staff and everyone else. Mr. Clerk, could you please read docket number 1558?
Docket number 1558, Councilor Coletta Zapata offer the following. Order for a hearing regarding the establishment of a municipal climate bank in Boston.
Thank you. The chair recognizes Councilor Coletta Zapata. You have the floor.
Thank you so much, Madam President. We've held numerous hearings on the existential threat of climate change and the significant risk to the city of Boston, including increased flooding, extreme weather events, and risk to our critical infrastructure. According to the First Street Foundation, 45% of Boston's critical infrastructure, including hospitals, schools, airports, EMS stations, police stations, will be underwater if we do not move quickly from analysis to implementation of the recommendations in Climate Ready Boston. It is estimated to cost Boston in the billions of dollars to fortify our 47-mile coastline from sea level rise and storm surge. Many have already categorized this as Boston's next big dig. How we are going to pay for it, who is responsible for building it, and more importantly, how we work together is the next big piece in solving this complex and looming crisis. We've done some research, and we are proud to introduce one potential solution that would make Boston a model municipality for others along the coast. Municipal climate banks are public financial institutions designed to support local climate action by funding clean energy projects, climate resilient infrastructure, and other green initiatives. Creating a climate bank at the city level to fund infrastructure projects is a forward-thinking approach to addressing climate change and improving urban resilience. These banks often provide low-interest loans or grants to businesses, residents, and municipal entities to help accelerate the transition to a more sustainable economy and fortify coastlines. While municipal climate banks are still relatively new, a few cities in the United States and around the world have already started to establish them or implement similar programs. New York City has their Climate Action Loan Fund to finance energy efficiency and renewable energy projects. Washington, D.C. launched its Green Bank in 2020, one of the few operational climate banks to support local efforts in sustainable infrastructure. These cities are at the forefront of using public financial mechanisms to accelerate the transition to green energy and infrastructure. Here in Massachusetts, we have the state-run Community Climate Bank housed in Mass Housing and created under the leadership of the Healey-Driscoll administration. This fund accelerates investments to decarbonize the building sector in Massachusetts, with an initial focus on an equitable transition to clean energy and decarbonization and affordable housing. The details of the Massachusetts Climate Bank will likely evolve over time, but it is poised to be a significant driver in the state's climate strategy. At the city level, we can move quickly to supplement their work by prioritizing climate resilience and establish the following. We should define the mission and scope, defining which projects at the bank will fund, establish the legal entity and regulatory framework to ensure compliance with local, state, and national financial regulations, secure capital and initial funding, combining public funds, private investments, philanthropic organizations, and potentially green bonds. And lastly, develop a governance structure with representatives from all sectors, including experts in environmental justice and financial institutions. There are many more steps, and creating a climate bank is a complex but highly impactful endeavor. By mobilizing resources, engaging stakeholders, and focusing on sustainable outcomes, a city-level climate bank can play a critical role in advancing climate goals and building resilient communities. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Councilor Coletta Zapata. I know how hard you've been working on this, and excited to see this come to fruition. Is anyone else looking to speak on this matter? Would anyone else like to add their name? Oh, the chair recognizes Councilor Fitzgerald. Councilor Fitzgerald, you have the floor.
Thank you, Council President. I would just like to thank Council Coletta for bringing this up. Dorchester has over 7+ miles of coastline and is certainly one of the foremost concerns for our economic well-being as well as residential being. And so I commend Council Zapata for putting this forward and look forward to working with her on it. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to speak on this matter? Would anyone else like to add their name? Mr. Clerk, please add Councilors Braden, please add Councilors Braden, Durkin, Fitzgerald, Flynn, Mejia, Murphy, Pepin, Santana, Weber, Worrell. Please add the chair. Docket number 1558 will be referred to the Committee on Environmental Justice, Resiliency, and Parks. Mr. Clerk, would you please read docket number 1559?
Docket number 1559, Councilor Pepin offered the following. Order for a hearing on winter weather preparation and safety.
Thank you. The chair recognizes Councilor Pepin. Councilor Pepin, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. May I add Councilor Worrell as a original co-sponsor?
Councilor Worrell is so added. Councilor Pepin, you have the floor.
Thank you. Winter is coming. It's a classic Boston phrase that Game of Thrones took inspiration from. Yet, our winters have been looking a little different over the last 5 years. The streets team has been deploying new technologies, new practices, and new contractors for Salton roads. They understand that there are large infrastructure and environmental consequences to how we manage road salting. There are also unique considerations for snow removal this upcoming season. That is why I look forward to this hearing to review our plan for the upcoming season, make recommendations, and ultimately keep our neighbors safe and served this winter. Again, winter is coming, so let's be ready. Thank you.
Thank you. The chair recognizes Councilor Worrell. Councilor Worrell, you have the floor.
Thank you, Councilor Pepin, for adding me as original co-sponsor. And I love the Game of Thrones reference, and I'm looking forward to the new season. And I can't wait till they do the season on the Starks. As former chair of the City Services, I understand the importance of having an annual hearing on snow removal. Also want to acknowledge the work of former Councilor Kenzie Bach and also Councilor Tito Jackson, who also explored how to expand our snow removal operation to prioritize pedestrian safety during the winter. For too long, the focus has been on clearing roads for vehicles, while pedestrians, especially those with mobility challenges, seniors and parents with strollers, have been left struggling to navigate unclear sidewalks. But I also want to just make sure that we thank the administration for the expansion of the snow operation, and I want to continue to see how we can build on and further expand the clearance for high traffic pedestrian areas. In previous conversations, we've heard about the challenges around staffing, especially when it comes to securing CDL drivers. Additionally, as we move toward climate conscious approaches, I believe it's important to explore environmentally friendly alternatives to traditional salting, which can be damaging in the long term. I look forward to this conversation, and again, just want to highlight the work of our city team, doing the amazing work in our public works department, Superintendent Bro, Clarence Perkins, Norman Parks, Deanie Need, the whole team, and just looking forward to having a conversation on how we can expand our snow operations. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Worrell. Is anyone else looking to speak on this matter? Would anyone else like to add their name? Mr. Clerk, please add Councilors Braden, Coletta Zapata, Durkin, Fernandez Anderson, Fitzgerald, Flynn, Murphy, Pepin, not Pepin, Councilor Mejia, Santana, Weber. Please add the chair. Docket number 1559 will be referred to the Committee on City Services and Innovation Technology. Mr. Clerk, would you please read docket number 1560?
Docket number 1560, Councilor Flynn offered the following. Order for a hearing to discuss financial literacy programs in Boston Public Schools.
Thank you. The chair recognizes Councilor Flynn. Councilor Flynn, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, may I include Councilor Murphy and invoke Rule 12 and add Councilor Mejia as well?
Councilor Murphy is so added. Councilor Flynn seeks suspension of the rules. Add Councilor Mejia as the third original co-sponsor. Seeing and hearing no objections, Councilor Mejia is so added. Councilor Flynn, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We are filing this hearing to discuss providing financial literacy programs in Boston Public Schools. Financial literacy is a critical skill that helps us manage day-to-day finances, learn how to budget, and reach financial goals. Before I continue, I do want to acknowledge my colleagues that have spent a lifetime in this field for many years in education, including Councilor Braden, Councilor Fernandez Anderson, and Councilor Murphy as well. Councilor Mejia. A 2021 report by the State Treasurer's Office of Economic Empowerment found that the vast majority of districts do not require schools to teach any personal financial literacy or offer any electives. And while most schools do offer multiple courses with financial literacy content, their content and scope are highly inconsistent. A Boston Globe report found that although 70% of Massachusetts schools offer some electives in financial literacy, most students graduate with little to no knowledge of the fundamentals of budgeting, savings, investing, and maintaining good credit. Basic financial concepts at a young age can help prepare our students as they transition into adulthood, equip them with the knowledge to make better personal financial decisions as they enter the real world. It can also help them protect them from becoming victims of financial fraud as well. Time and again, I hear neighbors say that our kids are not armed with the knowledge that they need to make sound financial decisions as they enter the real world. While some high school students may already work part-time jobs and have credit cards or debit cards at a young age, it is eye-opening for many when confronted with monthly bills, the cost of living, and a long-term financial planning. It is never too early to explain savings for retirement and the power of compounding over time. Additionally, I'd like to acknowledge State Treasurer Deb Goldberg as well. In 2015, she established the Office of Economic Empowerment and created the Massachusetts Financial Literacy Task Force to study the access to financial education among K-12 students, college students, and adults. They offer a variety of programs, webinars, fairs, grants to educate young people, women, families, veterans, and older adults about financial literacy. As our students prepare for life after high school, it's critical we provide them with an understanding of the demands of being an adult, as well as knowledge of basic financial tools they need to succeed. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. The chair recognizes with Councilor Murphy. Councilor Murphy, you have the floor.
Thank you, and thank you, Councilor Flynn, for letting me sponsor this with you. So our students are not being taught the necessary skills to succeed in this modern day economy. Our students don't have access to comprehensive financial literacy programs, which is leaving them ill-equipped to navigate the complex financial landscape that they will all face in their future. And like Councilor Flynn just highlighted, some of them are already living it at this high school age, paying for bills and having jobs. This deficit has far-reaching consequences, including a higher likelihood of financial instability and vulnerability to predatory financial practices. I'll highlight one nonprofit, City Kids, that has a financial education program, and their mantra has been for the last few years that financial education is more important than algebra. It is a program that works with our East Boston High School kids that aims to empower students with essential financial skills and equip them with the tools they need to make informed financial decisions in the future. This program, I highlighted it when we had our hearing on the $6 million in money we're going to be putting towards the Mayor's Office of Housing, and they did highlight that that program is going well, and I think all of our students deserve to have this type of education. So I'm hoping that from this hearing and continue advocacy on this council that we will get the financial literacy that our students deserve in school. Thank you.
Thank you. The chair recognizes Councilor Mejia. Councilor Mejia, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Like I always say, show me the money, y'all. Where's that money at, right? Young people, y'all are still here? Okay. So I just want to thank the lead sponsor for adding me. As you know, I deeply care about all things that deal with our Boston Public School students, and especially around financial literacy. I often talk about the fact that when I was in high school, I had 2 to 3 jobs while I was in school, and oftentimes it was to help support my family. But I always wanted to dress up nicely, and I didn't have enough money to do that. And I'm looking at y'all because you're here today. And I think it's important for us to recognize that we are here doing this work, because whatever decisions get made here today oftentimes impact your quality of life. So I just want to thank again Binka for being here, and just for always showing up. I think that is part of the process. But going back to teaching financial literacy and why it's so important, I think it's also critical for us to understand that when it comes to credit repair, credit, when you go on to college, the first thing they want to do is they want to offer you credit. And oftentimes you end up with a low credit score because you don't know how to manage your funds. And so I think that Boston Public Schools is well positioned to be able to provide this service. I also know that Councilor Worrell has been doing a lot of work. Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, you out here. Development. You got funds, you know what I'm saying? And as someone who works in real estate, I think about Alex E. Edwards. He was still in high school when he purchased his first home. And he ended up in a financial situation that caused him a lot of hardship, but that hardship really helped put him on the path towards wealth creation. And I think that he's also such a great example of why financial literacy is so important. So I just wanted to speak those folks into the space. And I also just want to acknowledge Councilor Flynn for always recognizing his colleagues. I often smirk, and sometimes I'm looking at Councilor Anderson when you invoke our names into the chamber, because it really does mean a lot that you see us and you see our contributions to the work that we've done. So I just want to thank you for not just including me in this, but for always uplifting my colleagues who are doing work in different spaces. It means a lot when you speak our names into the space. So thank you. I look forward to having the hearing, and more importantly, to doing the work.
Thank you. The chair recognizes Councilor Fernandez Anderson. You have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I did want to rise and thank Councilor Flynn. I do think that this is a brilliant, just a brilliant filing, and I look forward to the conversation. To speak to what Councilor Mejia was saying in terms of you not being dismissive of your colleagues, always being respectful, in terms of recognizing us and acknowledging us, I really appreciate that as well. But it does speak to the work that has already come before this filing. Councilor Mejia has met with BPS and talked about financial literacy and working with them, and it hasn't taken place. So now that we are filing it and hopefully we talk about it, Councilor Murphy has often talked about curriculums not meeting the moment in terms of what is needed, and as well, of course, Councilor Worrell putting this work. So obviously super needed from my experiences in terms of being previously undocumented for 17 years, having filed taxes for the first time in I think 2009 or 2010 was the very first time filing a tax, but being here since 1989. Of course, you don't have credit, you don't build anything, you don't know how to file taxes, you don't know how to do financial literacy because you actually don't have the proper documentation, so you don't exist. And so you've never had to deal with anything. And then so the technicalities and the bureaucracies that often impedes us from or causes detrimental situations where people don't know how to properly file a thing or don't know how to align their paperwork and then get into trouble. Councilor Flynn, it does speak volumes to you acknowledging and recognizing the most vulnerable, the people of color, particularly immigrants that come in and having to face those issues. The children of immigrants, I have friends who are children of immigrants, although very educated, who don't have life insurance, who don't understand a financial portfolio, who's never had a Roth IRA. I'm not saying that I'm there yet. Obviously, we have a long way to go to learn, but super, super important, and I applaud you for the file and look forward to the conversation. Thank you.
Thank you. The chair recognizes Councilor Pepin. Councilor Pepin, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. And I also want to stand in support of this and thank Councilor Flynn and the co-sponsors for bringing this to the chamber, because just this morning I was able to be interviewed by two students from Binka. So thank you for that interview opportunity. And I learned that they both work. And I think that that's the story of many students in our school system. And they work for many reasons. But what I got from them is that they're tax-paying citizens, part of our society. And about 2 weeks ago, I was away with my wife, and we went into a bookstore, and I saw a financial literacy book. And I realized that I had to pick it up because I had no idea how to manage my money correctly. And I'm just being honest about that. And One of the quotes I have here, I actually wrote it down. It says, "A budget is telling your money where to go instead of wondering where it went." And in order to build generational wealth, in order to get out of poverty, in order to get out of whatever situation we are in regards to money, it starts with financial literacy. And we should start very early in our young age. I wish I had a financial literacy class in high school, because I still don't know how my 401k works. I still don't know what it means to how it works to put a down payment on a house, which is why I still rent. But I want to make sure that the next generation of Bostonians are in a better place than we are. And I'm very thankful for this filing, and I hope something like this happens in the near future. Thank you.
Thank you. The chair recognizes Councilor Orrell. Councilor Orrell, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President, and thank you, Councilor Flynn, for introducing this hearing order. One of the first books that got me started to think about financial literacy for all the young people here and everyone watching is the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad. So it's definitely a good book for everyone to get. Easy read, and it gives some grateful insight. My office has been a strong advocate for improving financial literacy, especially among Black and brown youth in Boston. Studies show that young adults in predominantly Black and brown communities tend to have lower credit scores, often below the subprime threshold, which can have long-lasting financial impacts. It's why my office has made financial literacy a priority in our outreach efforts. And I just want to shout out my team for doing some amazing work. This year, my office hosted the credit camp at the Mattapan Teen Center, where over 50 students learned how to build and manage credit responsibly. Shout out to Abdullah Beckett, my Director of Constituent Services and Development and Youth Engagement, for leading the charge, and our incredible partners with Build Boston and also Jelani Lynch, and also for the D4 Youth Council who helped inspire this thought. We also hosted the first Boston Power Pitch competition where talented young entrepreneurs pitched their business ideas. Shout out to Jerron Carter, our winner, who has wowed us with his innovative AI-driven mental health solution. And I also want to recognize Royce Vail for bringing in many young entrepreneurs, who also does many work here in the city of Boston and partners with Councilor Julie Mejia on the 3 Ws. Summit, Workforce, Wellness, and Wealth Summit that you do. It's a free event, so I love those free events that are promoting financial literacy. And I also want to just shout out Citizens Bank, who partner with us at the Burke to teach our students about savings and checkings accounts, and where we also were able to open checkings accounts for our students over at the Burke. The impact of these programs is long-lasting. Teaching young people about financial literacy not only equips them with tools for future success, but also helps close the racial wealth gap in our communities. And I look forward to continuing this important work and building on the momentum we've created. And I'm looking forward to building those systems and those programs and courses inside of BPS. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Orrell. The chair recognizes Councilor Coletta Zapata. You have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Quickly, I just want to stand up and thank the makers and thank everybody for their work on this. It is clearly so important and necessary for folks to understand their finances and be able to live healthy, vibrant, amazing lives. And so I did just want to get up and thank Mr. Hunt from BLA, who was my macroeconomics teacher, who took time away from his curriculum that was given to him to teach us about Roth IRAs. So shout out to Mr. Hunt. You're incredible. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to speak on this matter? I want to thank my colleagues for bringing this forward and want to thank all the work that all of my colleagues have done on financial literacy. Just concur that it's so important for our BPS students to have some sort of understanding of how finances work, because real life comes hard and fast, and we want to make sure that our students are set up for success. Would anyone else like to add their name? Mr. Clerk, please add Councilors Braden, Coletta Zapata, Fernand Anderson, Fitzgerald, Durkin, Pepin, Santana, Weber, Worrell. Please add the chair. Docket number 1560 will be referred to the Committee on Education. Mr. Clerk, would you please read docket number 1561?
Docket number 1561, Councilor Santana and Pepin offer the following. Order for a hearing to explore how changes to planning, development, zoning, and land use policies in Austin, Texas have increased housing production and affordability, and the potential to apply similar policies in Boston.
Thank you. The chair recognizes Councilor Santana. Councilor Santana, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. I would like to suspend Rule 12 and add Councilor Durkin as an original third co-sponsor.
Councilor Santana seeks to suspend the rules to add Councilor Durkin as a third original co-sponsor. Seeing and hearing no objections, Councilor Durkin is so added. Councilor Santana, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. I'm proud to introduce this hearing order alongside my colleagues, Councilor Pepin and Councilor Durkin, to explore how changes to planning, development, zoning, and land use policies in Austin, Texas have increased housing production and affordability, and how similar strategies could be applied right here in Boston. Boston continues to face a critical housing affordability crisis, and while we have been working tirelessly to address these challenges, it is essential that we look beyond our own city for creative solutions. Austin has undergone substantial reforms in its zoning and development practices, resulting in an increase in housing production, stabilizing home prices, and even reduced rents, despite a growing population and strong local job market. The success Austin has experienced demonstrates the potential for zoning, land use, and planning reforms to create lasting impacts on housing availability and affordability. We believe there is a great value in exploring how these policies, which focuses on flexibility, streamlining, and innovative development, can help us address Boston's own housing challenges. We have been working with Austin's Mayor Pro Leslie Poole and council members Chito Vela and Zoe Quadri, who have played key roles in these policy challenges, and we look forward to the contributions to this discussion. I look forward to exploring how Boston can benefit from these successful strategies, and I hope to have the support of my colleagues as we work together to tackle the housing crisis here in this great city. Thank you.
Thank you. The chair recognizes Councilor Pepin. Councilor Pepin, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Back in August, I was able to attend the Democratic National Convention where they had a housing panel, and the mayor of Austin, Texas, and 2 city councilors were there, and they were chatting about the trajectory of housing prices and housing development in their city. And what caught my attention is that they had said that their rent prices stabilized and actually decreased throughout the years. And that immediately clicked to me. It's like, we really need to figure out what we're doing in Boston wrong in order to flip the narrative here. So that instead of saying our rent continues to increase, how do we stabilize? And that triggered the conversation of how we can hear from the Austin City Councilors to learn what they're doing over there, to learn what is it that they did, to learn how is it that they changed their zoning wording to be able to build more. And in that same trip, President Obama in his speech said, one of the major responsibilities of major cities is to build and to be able to build more housing. And that's what we need to do in the city of Boston, because the way we're going right now is a lot of Bostonians continue to be priced out. So what I'm looking to gain from this is to learn what is the other municipalities are doing. We're using the city of Austin as an example, who has done it correctly, and I want to make sure that we get the most out of this, because I don't know if you know this, but even in the city of Boston, to build a triple-decker, it isn't an as of right. And that's considered a character of the city of Boston, but it's very difficult to build it. So let's figure out what we're doing wrong. Let's learn from them, and I look forward to the conversation as they're here representing their city in collaboration with ours. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Pepin. The chair recognizes Councilor Durkin. Councilor Durkin, you have the floor.
Thank you so much, and thank you so much, Councilor Santana and Pepin, for adding me as a third co-sponsor. I think it's really important to learn from other cities. I think we are in a unique environment in Boston. We know how much more dense Boston is than Austin, but we know they've taken a great deal of thought, and they've done a lot. I've heard from a lot of residents about how housing and cost of living is their greatest concern living in Boston. And as the chair of Planning, Development, and Transportation, I have and will continuously work to explore every solution and learn best practices we can to alleviate our housing crisis. To that end, there is promising data coming out of Austin through proactive policy that touch planning, development, and land use, building codes, and zoning. We're tackling a lot of those in Boston, but it's worth the chance to get to know how they're approaching it. And that's not without significant pushback from specific communities. Change is difficult. Zoning changes are hard. I was on a tour of the Bullfinch Triangle this morning, and I saw how much historic preservation and how preserving our historic neighborhoods is important to community members. But I also see opportunities for growth, empty parking lots, and opportunities for creating. I also see that there's restrictions. In the Bullfinch Triangle, housing is just a conditional use. It's not an allowed use. So per our zoning code, we're telling folks the Bullfinch Triangle, every other use is allowed, and housing is conditional. That's one of the small ways within our zoning code that we've created an environment where housing is harder to build than other things. So I appreciate Councilor Santana, your leadership on this, and I'm really excited to have this conversation. I think hearing from other people and building upon the great work that the City of Boston is already doing, stuff like ADUs, squares and streets, and other initiatives, it's a really exciting time to have this conversation. So thank you so much.
Thank you. The chair recognizes Councilor Fernandez Anderson. You have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. I'm really interested in this conversation. Thank you, Councilor Santana, for leading on this and your co-sponsors. The reason being is because it does feel like most of what Austin, Texas have done is very, very, very similar to what either the mayor or administration or BPDA is trying to do in terms of Article 80, office use, increasing affordability, Code Next, which is one of their policies, although it halted in rezoning or recoding in how we build, it does feel like we're trying very similar policies, but I think the only difference I maybe is having conversations about in terms of they're also doing squares and streets in their own way, but then looking at how our transit or how our transportation improves in order for us to complement that. So incentivizing folks not to have cars or to be more in transit, like corridors and streets, like, or what is, I'm sorry, I'm not quoting it correctly. So I guess I'm wondering, like, is a conversation for us, what they did too is they did a study to be able to actually offer suggestions on what the goal is to have equity in order to have the affordability, because another one of their improving or expanding affordability was to incentivizing developers to do more affordable units by zoning up, which is what the administration is doing as well. But then the question then is should we do a study so that we can do more holistic development in order for us not to be able to develop in silos, right? So what if impacts downtown should impact South Boston, should impact Roxbury, and we're not really looking at planning and development so far like that. I know that BPDA hired a planning developer and they're looking at that. Sheila Dillon is looking at anti-displacement policies in order to complement this and be able to fight. And we know that there is no development. There is no development without displacement. It's going to happen. But what you are saying is, wait, what else can we do in terms of looking at these policies and these policies? So if we're able to actually do this study and be able to recommend ahead of time on how to actually create that equity while we are developing, I think that the city has not actually looked at that. There's a policy or hearing order that myself and Councilor Jen filed and held a hearing on in terms of exploring bonds to do development. And so if we have that study and we know exactly what the quota and where exactly those holistic amenities should go, we know exactly where the affordable units are in affluent areas. It should go in Charlestown, they should go in East Boston, and then Roxbury, maybe we should get more affordable homeownership. Then we can actually assess what is holistic, what makes sense, how do we do walkable streets, how do we make sense of all of this and fight displacement, not just in a housing level, but also commercial, climate, and housing displacement altogether. So very, very excited, been doing a lot of work on this. You could tell that I'm super thrilled that you filed, and I thank you and I look forward to the conversation.
Thank you. The chair recognizes Councillor Braden. Councillor Braden, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President, and thank you to Councillors Santana and Pepin and Durkin for offering this hearing order. As the chair of the Housing Committee, we have 30,000 units of housing that are already approved and in the pipeline and not moving anywhere. And that's a huge challenge for us. We also have to look at what we've built over the last 10 years. We have developed more luxury and market rate housing than middle income and workforce housing. In fact, the ratios are inversely proportional to what we need and what we're getting. And I think we have to accept that there's two housing markets in the city of Boston. There's that luxury market, that market rate market that's always, developers will go there, but it's very, very, very much more difficult to have them build middle income and workforce housing. We had a discussion last week in a hearing, and it was apparent that there's lots of tax incentives and subsidies for building low-income housing, and there's obviously an incentive to build luxury housing because it demands a higher, it has a higher return. But the space in the middle for middle income and workforce housing is where we're really in a deficit, and we find that because our workers are not able to stay in the city. And the other thing that we have to address and look at is the fact that we have 160,000 college students living in the city of Boston that are putting an inordinate amount of pressure on our housing stock because our universities and institutions are not building enough on-campus housing for students. And we see this creep into, we've seen Alston has been decimated, Mission Hill has been decimated by institutional expansion. And we see a creep into neighbourhoods like East Boston where investors are buying up, speculative investors are buying up family homes in those neighbourhoods, and this will continue as long as we do not address the fact that we want our universities to build more. So it's a complex terrain, a complex landscape, but I really do welcome this hearing order. I'm very keen to learn more about Austin, Texas. I've heard about their program for the past few years, and I really look forward to the conversation. Please add my name.
Thank you so much, Councillor Breeden. And I'd just like to say I want to echo all of my colleagues in their comments. It's really important that we build more housing in the city of Boston, that we build more affordable housing. I'd be remiss if I didn't acknowledge, I think it was Councillor Durkin who was speaking to the high cost of living and the high cost of housing. We have with us the Mass Senior Action Council, who you all advocate day in and day out on how expensive it is to live in this city, the high cost of living. And so we need to be doing everything we can, every single approach, to make sure that we are building more housing and bringing down the cost of housing and the cost of everyday living so that everyone, including our seniors, don't feel so stretched every day with a limited budget. So I want to thank my colleagues, Councillor Pepin. Thank you for uplifting this issue and for being and for highlighting that this is an issue that people are talking about on the national scale. And so I look forward to this hearing. I want to thank all of my colleagues. Would anyone else like to add their name? Mr. Clerk, please add Councillors Breeden, Coletta Zapata, Fernandez Anderson, Fitzgerald, Flynn, Murphy, Mejia, Weber, Worrell, and please add the chair. Docket number 1561 will be referred to the Committee on Planning, Development, and Transportation. Mr. Clerk, would you please read docket number 1562?
Docket number 1562, Councilor Flynn offered the following. Order for a hearing regarding public safety and quality of life issues in downtown and Boston Common.
Thank you. The chair recognizes Councillor Flynn. You have the floor.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, may I add Councilor Mejia as an original co-sponsor?
Councillor Mejia is added as an original co-sponsor. Councillor Flynn, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm calling for a hearing to discuss the public safety challenges in the area of downtown Boston, the financial district, Boston Common, Tremont Street, as well as the critical need to enhance city response and services. Over the past few months, downtown residents, families, businesses, office workers have reached out to me and many of my colleagues regarding the rising visibility of open drug dealing and drug use, violent crime with the number of stabbings and assaults, and an overall decline in sense of public safety from residents and businesses around the Boston Common area, downtown Crossing. In August, following a stabbing in downtown Crossing, I partnered with the Downtown BID, the Business Improvement District, for a public safety walkthrough with residents, businesses, nonprofits, university partners such as Suffolk and Emerson in Boston Police. Many expressed unease and concerns of personal safety due to aggressive behavior, drug dealing, consumption, the increase in violent crime in that area, along Winter Street, Tremont Street, Park Street, as well as across the street at Brewer Fountain. In September, the Boston Police held a CompStat meeting with the downtown residents, which I attended. They reported that crime stats in the area are trending upward. There have been multiple reports from tour operators who have either now rerouted or even decided to skip that area in and around Tremont Street, Boston Common, altogether due to these assaults. Tour operators and visitors were punched. I recently met with parents from downtown Boston about a Beacon Hill school that they attend, that their children attend, after a 4-year-old and caregiver were assaulted by a woman with mental and behavioral health challenges. To my knowledge, both the child and the caregiver safely recovered. In October, there was another stabbing near the Brewer Fountain, across from Tremont Street, with many parents reportedly witnessing the aftermath while taking their children to school across the street. More recently, I met with a school in downtown Boston. I met with the administrators, concerned parents, the Boston Police, and city officials regarding frustrations on the safety of their children and the unhealthy environment that they walk through in and around that particular area. I continue to hear from residents that they do not feel safe walking in certain areas in downtown Boston, downtown crossing, or leaving or coming back to their home after 5 p.m., after 6 p.m. Some constituents have also told me that they are seriously considering moving out and selling their property at a loss to be away from the negative and dangerous activities. I've had medical doctors write to me recently about harassment they've experienced just walking through. Downtown Boston, Boston Common, they're economic engines for our city and home to some of the most important historic sites in our country. We cannot continue to allow violent crime, open drug dealing, drug use, and other activities to take over the area at the expense of our residents, businesses, visitors. These parks belong to everybody. In the final analysis, like we said at yesterday's hearing, we need to discuss strategies to provide support and resources for those who are struggling with mental health, substance use disorders. I worked on these issues as a probation officer at Suffolk Superior Court for 8 years, getting people into drug treatment programs. But at the same time, we need to address crime in our city and crime in this particular area. And in my opinion, arrest people who are committing illegal activities. In my opinion, I believe there should be zero tolerance for criminal behavior. Those who commit violent crimes should receive a state sentence. And I know people that I respect may disagree with me on that, and I understand that. We must continue to work proactively with city officials, our law enforcement officers, the district attorney's office, residents, businesses, downtown parks advocates, to improve safety in this area. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. The chair recognizes Councilor Mejia. You have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. And I am grateful for Councilor Flynn for allowing me to join him. For those who have been following my career on the City Council, Councilor Flynn and I are usually on the opposite ends when it comes to how we're going to deal with public safety issues, which is why he, alongside Councilor Pepeng and myself, are creating a citywide task force so that we can find some common ground on how we're going to tackle the issues of public safety. So I just want to say thank you for allowing me to be in the space with you in this capacity. I also just want to rise and uplift Torchlight Recovery, who has been doing a lot of work in the Nubian Square area around dealing with some of the issues that Councillor Flynn has just mentioned, but more targeted in the Nubian Square area. And I also just want to uplift Councillor Roral. And I recently met with some folks from Bowdoin Street who are also dealing with some of the same issues that Councillor Flynn has raised here alongside with Councillor Fitzgerald. We participated in a community meeting. Needless to say that these issues are impacting us across the city of Boston, even in Eggleston Square. So no matter where we live, at the end of the day, we're all experiencing this issue. And my hope is as we have these hearings, we can bring more people together. And the reason why I wanted to join this one is because oftentimes it's Dorchester, Roxbury, and Mattapan that are dealing with issues like this. And not to say that I'm happy to see it happening in Beacon Hill or Back Bay, but I am going to say that because I think what it does is creates an opportunity for other people to understand what it looks like when we have been sounding the alarm for decades. And now that it's spilling over all across the city, my hope is that everyone's going to start recognizing the role that we all play in making sure that we're addressing this issue in ways that make sense. So I'm really excited to work alongside Councillor Flynn. You've been a tremendous thought partner with some of the issues that we have been dealing with around the mopeds, alongside Councillor Pepeng. So I'm really looking forward to your leadership and working alongside you on this particular issue. Thank you.
Thanks. The chair recognizes Councillor Durkin. You have the floor.
Thank you so much, Council President. And thank you, Councillor Flynn, for bringing this, representing the Boston Common and getting a chance to be on the Boston Common Maintenance Trust Fund, which we just did our annual walk, has really given me a lot of perspective about both the infrastructure changes that are needed, but also the personnel that is needed to make sure that the Boston Common remains a safe place. And in the past few weeks, I've met with Commissioner Cox, I've met with Mayor Michelle Wu, I've met with the A1 police captain, I've met with Sean Martin, and many others from the community who have really advocated for police presence. Taking on their concerns, I have really championed more foot patrols and A1 police details to be stationed near or on the Common. And what I learned is that A1 just does not have the capacity that they should have. So upon a lot of advocacy of the community and from my office, they were able to bring in some other units to support our work on the Boston Common. And I've heard directly from neighbors, and so I want to read some of their thoughts. The additional police presence was a dream. We appreciate it so much. I was even able to walk by the Brewer Fountain with my 1-year-old daughter, and I wasn't afraid. And we all appreciate it more than you'll ever know, and we're hoping it will be like this moving forward. This morning reminded me of why we love Boston and why we have chosen to raise our family here. I moved here over 10 years ago from New York, and only expected to stay here for a couple of months. Never left because it is truly beautiful and the people are kind and wonderful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I think that really gets at the feedback that we've received after the additional police force and the additional patrols. And I actually came home from a concert late one night the other weekend and witnessed some patrols myself. And I appreciate how this is happening throughout the city, and I appreciate that we're dealing with not just what's happening in Boston, but also what's happening nationally. And I appreciate the work of all my colleagues, but I have heard from commercial real estate folks that the way that this issue is being discussed, particularly in the media, is impacting businesses' willingness to move downtown. And that really gets at, I believe in creating an economy downtown and in our commercial corridors that we can really believe in. I believe in bringing new businesses to my district and the surrounding area to provide that activity that's needed for safety. And when I talk to neighbors, those missed opportunities are missed opportunities for them. Those are missed jobs that they could walk to. Those are internships for their kids. And I I want to caution us to be positive, to be like this anonymous constituent that I quoted. See the hope in Boston, see what we can bring. And it's not really us versus, how many police officers we can get in this area. That police presence is felt and it's appreciated. But the way that we talk about Boston and the candor that we take has an impact on businesses, and it has an impact on people being willing to move here. I was recently at the Car Guru's ribbon cutting with the mayor and the governor, and saw a business choose Boston. And when they chose Boston, they said, we love that people can get here. We love how close it is to everything else. We love the community. And that's what I want people to say about downtown Boston. That's what I want people to say about our downtown neighborhoods. And that's what I want people to say about District 8. So I just want everyone to stay positive, because the work that's being done is positive, and I will come to this hearing, but I just caution us to not have negative impacts on local businesses that want to move here.
Thank you, and thank you, Councilor Durkin, for those words and for the work that you're doing in your district. And also want to thank Councilor Flynn. I know that a lot of this happens in Boston Common, which I believe is, a shared space for all of us to enjoy. And so, as much as it's a district councilor issue, and I know that it's in your district, Councilor Durkin, we all care about the Common because we all have our stories there. I want to also shout out the incredible work of the downtown bid. They are incredible in making sure that we are uplifting that positivity that you're talking about the really great and amazing things happening in downtown Boston. And I just want to make sure that we are working collectively and collaboratively in the spirit of uplifting our city to make it better and to improve the issues that we see happening there. Is anyone else looking to speak on this matter? Would anyone else like to add their name? Mr. Clerk, please add Councilors Braden, Fernandez Anderson, Fitzgerald, Murphy, Worrell. This docket number 1562, will be referred to the Committee on Public Safety and Criminal Justice. Mr. Clerk, would you please read docket number 1563?
Docket number 1563, Councilor Louisiana offer the following. Order for a hearing to explore the effectiveness of high-dosage tutoring and other academic recovery strategies.
Thank you. The chair recognizes Council President Louis Jen. Council, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I offer this hearing order to explore more about high-dosage tutoring and tutoring in general. This is an issue that matters a lot to a number of residents and to a number of people in the city of Boston, especially as we are still in the post-COVID era of thinking about how we're providing resources to our students. There are a number of cities, including Atlanta, including Chicago, that have really gone all in on high-dosage tutoring. My office worked with an office with a school in Councilor Coletta Zapata's district, the Kennedy School, on a high-dosage tutoring pilot there. There are some studies. We are looking to see what the best mechanism is to provide additional learning to our students, and whether high-dosage tutoring can be a mechanism to help us solve that. There are advocates of high-dosage tutoring point to its ability to provide individualized support, which some studies suggest can result in substantial learning gains, particularly when students receive at least 3 sessions per week. There are concerns about the scalability, the sustainability, the cost, and the feasibility. But I think that having a hearing order on the City Council to see if this is something where we should be investing more money in, not just talking about high-dosage tutoring, of course that's going to be the focus, but also tutoring in general. There are great organizations here in the City of Boston that do this work, like Partners in Education, like in addition to Partners in Education, City Year, and other organizations. And so I just want to make sure that we are really analyzing the efficacy of high-dosage tutoring, and to consider a range of evidence regarding the success and challenges of high-dosage tutoring. I want to shout out a constituent in Hyde Park, Jess Hamilton, who continues to elevate this issue, which is one of the reasons why I put this hearing order forward. So I look forward to this conversation alongside the Boston Public Schools. Mr. Chair, I should have done this at the beginning, but I'd like to add Councilor Weber as an original co-sponsor, And if I may, I'd like to request to suspend the rules to add Councilor Durkin as the third original co-sponsor.
Council Weber is added as original co-sponsor. Council President looks to suspend the rules and add Councilor Durkin as an original co-sponsor. Councilor Durkin is added as an original co-sponsor.
Thank you, and then thank you very much, Councilor Worrell, and I look forward to holding this hearing with my colleagues.
Thank you, Councilor Weber. You have the floor.
Thank you very much, and thanks to the Madam President for adding me as a co-sponsor to this. As the parent of 2 kids in BPS, I know firsthand how the system struggles to meet the needs of every student. We should be looking into every possible method at our disposal to ensure that everyone in Boston gets high-quality education. The research into high-dosage tutoring programs in Chicago and Atlanta have shown promising results, and I'm excited about the possibility that we can find a tool that will help our students, and I look forward to working with Madam President and my other colleagues here on this issue. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Weber. Councilor Durkin, you have the floor.
Thank you so much, Chair, and thank you so much to the Council President for adding me. I'm proud to co-sponsor this hearing order to examine the potential for scaled-up utilization of high-dosage tutoring in Boston Public Schools. We've heard from parents, educators, about the learning loss gaps that our children experience post-COVID. These gaps especially have manifested in our most vulnerable communities, and that impacts all of us in the city and all of our children. And they are our most valuable gift and resource. I think it's critical that we explore every evidence-based intervention that can help our students thrive. The research on high-dosage tutoring is particularly compelling. High-dosage tutoring outperforms just about every popular strategy for improving academic performance. It has shown to increase students' learning by an additional 3 to 15 months above grade levels and moves an average student from the 50th percentile to the 66th percentile, with even more efficacy for at-risk students. This hearing will allow us to gather crucial input from educators and students and families, and I'm grateful to be part of this conversation. So thank you, Council President, and look forward to the hearing.
Thank you, Councilor Durkin. The chair recognizes Councilor Fernandez-Anderson. Councilor, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Councilor Lejeune, for filing this. I think that in the conversation, I look forward to exploring how this could be complement Homework Heroes, a program initiated by way of the hearing that I filed to create more tutoring opportunities and pay students for their time. I do appreciate the research that it shows, like the consistency, 3 to 5 days, but as a job also, how it also supports improvement in academics for students. I think that my favorite things about high-dosage tutoring is that they do offer a sort of assessment component where they monitor students over time and then actually create like modifications based on assessments as they go, which feels like a treatment plan, so that if you're monitoring the kids and then you're reassessing and you're doing all that, it feels very comprehensive and therefore more efficient. So I look forward to the conversation. I'm very thankful to YEO and our partners. We had over 40 applicants this time. This is the 3rd year that Homework Heroes will be implemented through our office, through SuccessLink, and we have a total accepted applications of 22 students, high school students, that will be tutored as a job. And the partnership that we're looking to create is with RCC. So I look forward to that and the conversation and hopefully implementing high performance. The other thing to mention is that when, for example, like students get into trouble or they're not performing as well, they need something like this. There are actually laws within the IEP that allow you to have high performance, high dosage tutoring paid, and they can come to your location. Most parents don't know how to actually follow the treatment plans in an IEP plan or in a 504, so they don't know to take advantage of this benefit. So something else to explore as far as tutoring. Thank you.
Thank you. The chair recognizes Councilor Mejia. Councilor, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you to the makers for bringing this. I was actually initially going to rise to thank you for your leadership early on in this space, really understanding, especially during COVID, to the president's comments earlier about the gap that we have found ourselves in terms of closing the educational gap. Some of our kids aren't even back in school, let alone, trying to get them up to speed. So I'm really looking forward to having this conversation. I just would like to add that as we continue to have our younger ones who are here, who are recently arrived, I think that there is an opportunity to look at some of this high-dosage tutoring, all these new words I'm learning up in here in this fancy chamber that I happen to be in, that there's an opportunity for us to really look at how this will help support recent arrivals and students whose English is not their first language, and people who have had interrupted education. I think that I'd love to see what the reports look like for those kids. Thank you.
Thank you. Is anyone else looking to speak? I'd like to thank Madam President and the co-sponsors for introducing this order. I'm a strong supporter of creating enrichment programs or any programs that address learning loss. My office has been advocating for these type of initiatives. I just want to give a big shout out to Corey McCarthy over at BPS, who's partnered with us to create a development hub program, which recently kicked off at the Henderson Inclusion School in partnership with Lee Academy. I want to shout out Livius Prep and Be Heard for partnering and being service providers over at the Development Hub. This after-school program provides tutoring, homework support, and social and emotional learning to all students, all aimed at closing and the widening gap in education. Learning, I believe, shouldn't be just confined to the 6.5 hours that our kids are in school. It should be extended to after-school programs, weekends, and also summers. This is how I truly believe we move the needle and help students recover academically. Also, a big special shout out. I know a lot of my colleagues here will be partaking in the 826 Boston event. So just want to shout them out. I'm looking forward to meeting those young people. I think it's tomorrow. Is anyone else looking to add their name? Mr. Clerk, please add Council Braden, Council Coletta Zapata, Council Fernandez Anderson, Council Fitzgerald, Council Flynn, Council Mejia, Council Murphy, Council Pepin, Council Santana, and please add the chair. Thank you. Docket number 1563 will refer to the Committee on Education. Mr. Clerk, can you please read docket number 1564?
Docket number 1564, Councilor Santana offer the following. Order regarding nominations for the Civilian Review Board and Internal Affairs Oversight Panel within the Office of Police Accountability and Transparency.
Thank you. The chair recognizes Councilor Santana. Councilor Santana, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam. Thank you, Madam President. Today, I rise to speak on the importance of nominations for the Civilian Review Board, CRB, and the Internal Affairs Oversight Panel, IAOP, within the Office of Police Accountability and Transparency, OPAT. These two bodies are essential in fostering trust between the Boston Police Department and our communities by providing independent oversight. The CRB reviews and investigates complaints against the BPD that come before OPAT, while the IAOP reviews completed investigations by the department's Internal Affairs Division. These roles ensure accountability and transparency within our public safety institutions. At present, there are 3 vacancies on the CRB and 2 vacancies on the IAOP due to term expirations and resignations. The OPAT ordinance provides for the City Council to recommend nominees for these openings. By nominating and confirming these appointments, we are ensuring that both the CRB and the IAOP have full membership to continue their critical work. The Council's role here is more involved than for many other boards and panels. Per statute, we nominate 3 candidates for each vacancy, and the mayor selects 1. Notably, the CRB requires at least 1 youth delegate aged 18 to 21, so it's essential we provide strong, diverse, and qualified candidates. The City Council chose nominees for the CRB in 2021 using a robust and transparent application and review process coordinated by central staff. I want to say that it's a bit of a formality that I'm sponsoring this order. This process will be substantially coordinated by central staff as it was in 21, and my office and I will just be serving to help support, and was also done by the Chair of the Public Safety and Criminal Justice in 2021. I want to extend a heartfelt thank you to our director, our staff director, Michelle Goldberg, for her diligent work in preparing this process, as well as our communications manager, Candice Morales, for creating the communications material that will help promote these vacancies and the application process. Their commitment to ensures that we both have a smooth, accessible process to select the best candidates for these essential boards. Michelle and Candice have been working to prepare the applications, as well as a new website page that explains the positions and applications to go live shortly after our meeting today. All of the website and application materials also have language notices, so applicants who read or speak any language can be accommodated. Candice is also working on graphics and flyers that will be provided to all counselors so that you can help promote this application process and also personally invite community members to apply that you think would be a good candidate for these positions. Central staff will be sending out an email with full details to all counselors and staff, but I just wanted to give an overview on a couple main points. The application process will open on or before Friday this week and will remain open through Saturday, November 30th. All counselors will be provided access to the submitted applications by central staff and an opportunity to review them in detail. And again, counselors are encouraged to invite qualified candidates to apply to ensure the applicant pool includes folks you'd like to see considered. Thereafter, the council will hold a working session to choose nominees. Again, this will be the same process as the council used in 2021. Councilors will be encouraged to come to the working session with a list of 3 nominees for the CRB, including 1 youth aged 18 to 21, and then 2 nominees for the IAOP. Councilors can also submit a letter of absence with their recommendations if they are unable to attend the working session, and was also done during this process in 2021. The council will work to select nominees during that working session, and central staff will coordinate to track the support for applicants. With the assistance of central staff, the committee will prepare a committee report with the council selection of nominees chosen during the working session, including 9 nominees for the 3 open seats on the CRB and 6 nominees for the 2 open seats on the IAOP. As with every committee report, and as was done in 2021, the council will then vote on the report during the regular Wednesday council meeting. Once accepted by the council, the list of nominees will be provided by the clerk to the mayor to select 3 members for the CRB and 2 members for the IAOP from the council's list of nominees. Again, my tremendous thanks to central staff for working to implement this through a transparent application process, and central staff will be following up with more information via email, and I encourage all my colleagues to review that information and participate in the nomination process. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. The chair recognizes Councilor Mejia. You have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President, and thank you to Councilor Santana for bringing this here to the chamber. I just want to uplift that Councilor Arroyo, Councilor Campbell, and myself established this particular office, so I'm really happy to hear, all of the work that central staff is doing in particular to make sure that we're getting the word out. So I really do appreciate, and shout out to Candice because her infographics are always on fleek. I wanted to just really point out that when it comes to this particular process, it's really important for us to understand that it's not just about their nominations. I don't know if you guys have seen the report that recently was in the news with the broken links and how the website is just in shambles. And so people are looking to us to get this right. And I think part of the nomination process needs to also look at how people are going to hold the executive director accountable to making sure that we're being as transparent as this moment is calling for. So looking forward to spreading the word, and I'm also really excited because one of the things that our office fought for was to have a youth delegate in that position, because oftentimes we think that young people don't have a voice or a seat at the table, and we also fought to make sure that they were also paid for their time. So I just want to uplift that as we continue to do this. Let's also target teen empowerment and other nonprofit organizations that serve young people so that they can have a seat at this table. Thank you.
Thank you. Is anyone else looking to speak on this matter? Would anyone else like to add their name? Mr. Clerk, please add Councilors Braden, Coletta Zapata, Fernandez Anderson, Fitzgerald, Mejia, Murphy, Pepin, Weber, Worrell. Please add the chair. Docket number 1564 will be referred to the Committee on Public Safety and Criminal Justice. Mr. Clerk, would you please read docket number 1565?
Docket number 1565, Councilor Murphy offered the following. Order requesting certain information under Section 17F regarding all newly created job positions.
Thank you. The chair recognizes Councilor Murphy. Councilor Murphy, you have the floor.
Yes, I'm just requesting that information and hope for it to pass today. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Murphy seeks suspension of the rules and passage of docket number 1565. All those in favor say aye. All opposed say nay. The ayes have it. Docket number 1565 is passed. Mr. Clerk, would you please read docket number 1566?
Docket number 1566, Councilor Fernandez Anderson offered the following. Resolution designating a hero square at the intersection of Blue Hill Avenue and Quincy Street in recognition of Ronaldo Sestito.
Thank you. The chair recognizes Councilor Coletta Zapata. The chair recognizes Councilor Fernandez Anderson. Councilor Fernandez Anderson, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Ronaldo Sestito was born in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania on May 29, 1923, and was a resident of Roxbury, Massachusetts at 238 Blue Hill Avenue up until March of 1943, when he enlisted in the Army. Ronaldo fought in World War II and was promoted to sergeant in Company G, 83rd Infantry Division, 330th Infantry Regiment, 2nd Battalion on August 1st of 1944. On December 14th, 1944, Sergeant Sestito was killed in action while fighting in the Hirchen forest in Germany, being posthumously awarded the Purple Heart. Sergeant Sestito is remembered by his family and by the people of Massachusetts. May his positive example inspire us to work towards peace, mutual respect, and equality for all. In respect for his service in his country and for making the ultimate sacrifice, we hope to honor Sergeant Sestito by renaming the intersection of Blue Hill Avenue and Quincy Street in his honor. I move that we suspend the rules and adopt this resolution, and may peace be upon Sergeant Sestito, and thank him through our Lord for his service. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Fernandez Anderson, and thank you for honoring his service. Would anyone else like to speak on this matter? Would anyone else like to add their name? Mr. Clerk, please add Councilors Braden, Coletta Zapata, Fitzgerald, Flynn, Mejia, Murphy, Pepin, Santana, Weber, Worrell. Please add the chair. Councilor Fernandez Anderson, suspension of the rules and adoption of docket number 1566. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. The ayes have it. This docket is passed. Mr. Clerk, would you please read docket number 1567?
Docket number 1567, Councilors Coletta Zapata and Durkin offer the following. Resolution standing in solidarity with pregnant patients and medical professionals in Texas.
Thank you. The chair recognizes Councilor Coletta Zapata. You have the floor.
Madam President, I'd like to suspend Rule 12 and add you as an original co-sponsor.
Councilor Coletta Zapata seeks suspension of the rules to add myself, Council President Louis Jean, as the third original co-sponsor. Seeing and hearing no objections, I'm so added. Councilor Coletta Zapata, you have the floor.
Thank you so much. I offer this resolution standing in solidarity with pregnant patients and medical professionals in Texas. Amber Thurman, a 28-year-old mother who died being unable to access legal medical care during pregnancy complications in Georgia. The state's Maternal Mortality Review Committee found that her death was preventable. Deborah Dorbert, a woman in Florida who was forced to carry her pregnancy to term and go into labor even though doctors said it was not viable. Amanda Zorowski, who at 18 weeks pregnant, found out that she had a condition that threatened her life but was denied necessary care. She was admitted to the ICU for sepsis, her husband fearful he might lose her. She survived, but may not be able to ever conceive again. Amanda is the named plaintiff in the case referenced in this resolution brought before the Supreme Court, which allowed Texas hospitals to deny emergency care to pregnant patients even if there are complications. This decision left intact Texas' near total ban, even in cases where federal emergency care laws are there to save a woman's life or health. The Supreme Court's decision to uphold Texas's ban, even in these emergency situations, has devastating implications for women's health and reproductive freedoms. The ruling will force them to carry dangerous pregnancies to term and increases the risk of severe health complications, including death, especially in medical emergencies where abortion is a standard treatment. Make no mistake, the attempt to control our bodies, our lives, our fate has directly resulted in draconian practices that will result in people dying, as it already has. This is shameful. We are lucky here in Massachusetts, and of course, I would love to see a constitutional amendment to enshrine our rights, but my heart breaks for everyone in Texas and other states where this is happening. And I promise myself that I will always use my voice in this chamber to stand for reproductive freedoms when they are under attack. So I ask my colleagues to stand in solidarity with pregnant patients and medical professionals in Texas and any other state under restrictive laws that limit their ability to access deeply personal and necessary medical care. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Councilor Coletta Zapata, for filing this and for uplifting the names of those who have passed and have been injured as a result of these draconian, abhorrent policies that the Supreme Court has let stand and has really eroded everything that we thought we had in terms of abortion rights and in terms of protections. It's really just a reminder that progress and change isn't linear, that we have to keep our foot on the gas in order to make sure that women, particularly the women that you uplifted, Black women who are often find themselves in the crosshairs of subpar medical care, now find themselves unable to make the decisions that make the most sense for themselves and their medical care. So I second your desire to see a constitutional amendment to enshrine these rights that are having, without that amendment, we're seeing terrible consequences around the country. So it really is, these are just not abstract issues. These are things that are affecting people and the decisions that they make, and it's saddening. And I join Councilor Coletta Zapata in asking our colleagues to stand with us on this issue. The chair recognizes Councilor Braden. Councilor Braden, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President, and thank you to Councillor Coletta and Councillor Durkin and yourself for this resolution. It is incredibly sad and that the climate in these states has such a chilling effect on medical professionals who are dedicated to preserve life and take care of their patients to the best of their ability, but that their ability to do so is being interfered with by politics and government interference in medical care. I think as a healthcare professional myself, one concern I have is that many bright and dedicated health professionals who would normally have chosen a pathway into OBGYN professions to take care of women and provide reproductive health care are making other choices at this point. And ultimately, there are going to be states in this country where there will be a huge deficit of healthcare professionals available to take care of women and newborn children because of this policy. We already see a huge deficit in infant and maternal mortality and infant mortality among our Black communities and immigrant communities across the country. So, you know, not only is this an issue about right here in the moment, but I think it's going to have a generational impact on our ability to provide quality care going forward in the space of reproductive health care. So thank you for this resolution, and please sign me on.
Thank you, Councillor Braden. Thank you, Councillor Braden. Is anyone else looking to speak on this matter? Would anyone else like to add their name? Mr. Clerk, please add Councillors Braden, Fitzgerald, Murphy, Pepin, Santana, Weber, Worrell, Councillors Coletta Zapata, Durkin, and Louise Jean, suspension of the rules and passage and adoption of docket number 1567. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Mr. Clerk, would you please conduct a roll call vote?
Roll call vote on docket number 1567. Councilor Braden? Yes. Councilor Braden, yes. Councilor Coletta Zapata? Yes. Councilor Coletta Zapata, yes. Councilor Durkin? Councilor Fernandez Anderson? Councilor Fitzgerald? Yes. Councilor Fitzgerald, yes. Councilor Flynn? Yes. Councilor Flynn, yes. Councilor Lujan?
Yes.
Councilor Lujan, yes. Councilor Mejia? Councilor Murphy? Yes. Councilor Murphy, yes. Councilor Pepin? Yes. Councilor Pepin, yes. Councilor Santana? Yes. Councilor Santana, yes. Councilor Weber? Yes. Councilor Weber, yes. And Councilor Worrell? Yes. Councilor Worrell, yes. Docket number 1567 has received 10 votes in the affirmative.
Thank you. Docket number 1567 is passed. Mr. Clerk, would you please read docket number 1568?
Docket number 1568, Councilor Coletta Zapata offer the following. Resolution celebrating the declaration of Republic of Turkey and the 29th Annual Boston Turkish Arts and Cultural Festival.
Thank you. The chair recognizes Councilor Coletta Zapata. You have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to add you as an original co-sponsor.
I am so added. Councilor Coletta Zapata, you have the floor.
I want to be sure to thank Erkut Gomalu, who is here. He's the president of the Turkish American Cultural Society of New England. He's also the founder and director of the Arts and Culture Festival that I'll speak about in just a moment. But I am very proud to present this resolution celebrating the declaration of the Republic of Turkey and the 29th Annual Turkish Arts and Culture Festival. The Republic of Turkey, founded in October 1923, marks its 101st anniversary on October 29th, 2024, celebrating over a century of progress, democracy, and cultural diversity. The Boston Turkish Arts and Culture Festival, now in its 29th year, has played an essential role in promoting Turkish heritage and fostering understanding between diverse communities in the Boston area and beyond. The Turkish American community in Boston and the New England region has, over the years, made substantial contributions to the social, economic, and cultural fabric of our great city, enhancing the diversity and vibrancy of our local communities. As a celebration of this significant anniversary in the 29th Annual Boston Turkish Arts and Culture Festival, it is important to recognize and honor the contributions of the Turkish American community and the deep-rooted friendship and cooperation between the United States and Turkey. Personally, I have been the beneficiary of a friendship with my neighbor who essentially raised me and became best friends with my grandmother who took her to Turkey, and she had the time of her life. They became an integral part of our family. Figan and Jengis, I will always send my love to you, and thank you so much for feeding me delicious treats throughout my entire life. I invite my colleagues to assist us in raising the flag on Boston City Hall Plaza on Tuesday, October 29th, and again, just want to thank Erkut for all of his work. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Coletta Zapata. I also want to say thank you to Erkut and all the work that you do at the Turkish American Cultural Society of New England and as the founder and director of the Turkish Arts and Cultural Festival. Last year when we raised the flag, it was really a beautiful sight to see 100 years of Turkey. It was incredible. It will stay with me as one of the most memorable flag raisings that we've had, to see the joy and the celebration on the face of the Turkish community, to see that people came from far and near to celebrate and be together and really lift up Turk and the 100 years of independence. So I look forward to the flag raising. Turkey is also very special to me, as I have cousins who are Turkish, and I had the ability to go to Turkey with them and to really just learn more about the wonderful and beautiful culture. So just looking forward to the flag raising, and I want to just thank you again for all of the treats that you make sure that we have here on the City Council so that we learn more about Turkish culture as well. Would anyone else like to speak on this matter? Would anyone else like to add their name? Mr. Clerk, please add Councilors Braden, Fitzgerald, Murphy, Pepin, Santana, Weber, Worrell. Councilors Coletta Zapata and Louis Jean, suspension of the rules and adoption of docket number 1568. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. The ayes have it. This docket is passed. Mr. Clerk, could you please read docket number 1569?
Docket number 1569, Councilor Flynn offer the following. Resolution in support of our local restaurants in the city of Boston.
Thank you. The chair recognizes Councilor Flynn. Councilor Flynn, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I am filing this resolution today to stand with our restaurants to oppose ballot measure question 5. This is a ballot question proposed by outside interest groups to raise the minimum wage of servers and other tip workers in Massachusetts. If passed, the proposal would raise the minimum wage for tipped employees to $15 over a period of 5 years by 2029. It would also allow for tip pools in which tips would be shared with non-service employees. In 2022, voters in Washington, D.C. approved a similar ballot measure to eliminate the tip credit. Reports indicated that this resulted in restaurants laying off workers and operating on leaner staff. The Bureau of Labor Statistics reported that 3,200 jobs were cut, which is more than 10% of the peak workforce. Restaurants had to raise prices on their menu. Research found that Massachusetts restaurants will have to increase the prices on their meals, on their menus, by about 2% to make up the difference in staff pay, which could have a negative impact on restaurant operations that could lead to staff layoffs or even restaurants to shut down. In the final analysis, as our restaurants throughout Boston continue to recover from the post-pandemic inflation, remote work policies, continued uncertainty in the economy, and the new proposal to add several hundred liquor licenses in the city of Boston, many of them will go to restaurants. We should not be adding additional costs to our local small businesses and their customers. We should not repeat the same mistake other cities have made and potentially put a lot of people out of work. After speaking with my South Boston neighbors, constituents in the South End, and constituents in the industry, I believe that this ballot question proposed by outside interest groups could once again put unnecessary pressure on local establishments to lay off staff and potentially threaten their survival. Restaurants are an important part of our neighborhood, important part of our city as well. Madam Chair, before I continue, I was going to ask that this be placed in committee. I do know several of my colleagues reached out to me asking me if it's possible that it would be placed in committee to study the proposal. And although I know exactly where I'm voting, I do want to be respectful to my colleagues and ask that this be sent to a committee. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. So you're not seeking suspension of the rules?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you. Is anyone else looking to speak on this matter? Would anyone else like to add their name? Mr. Clerk, please add Councilors Durkin, Fitzgerald, Murphy. This docket will be referred to the Committee on Labor, Workforce, and Economic Development. We are now on to motions, orders, and resolutions, but before we do that, would anyone like to add their name or a vote to a matter when they were out of chambers? The chair recognizes Councilor Durkin. Councilor Durkin, you have the floor.
Can I add my name to 1567?
Mr. Clerk, can we add Councilor Durkin to 1567?
Yep.
Thank you. Anyone else would like to?
She was a sponsor already, 156.
Okay. Thank you. Would anyone else like to add their name or add a vote to something that they missed while they were out of chambers? No? Okay. We are now on to green sheets. Thank you again, because everyone has been responding to Michelle with their green sheets pulls. It really helps out. It really helps out the clerk's office and central staff, so we appreciate everyone who has put us on notice of the green sheet pulls that they have. And I know that we have pulls from, I see Councilor Murphy's light on. We have a pull from Strong Women and Family. So Councilor Murphy, you have the floor.
Thank you. So Clerk, I want to pull docket 0116 from page 18 of the green sheets, please.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Could you read it into the record, please?
From the Committee on Strong Women, Families, and Communities, docket number 0116. Message in order authorizing the City of Boston to accept and expend the amount of $200,000 in the form of a grant for the BHCCI Connect Learn, and Explore grant awarded by the Boston Children's Hospital to be administered by the Office of Early Childhood. The grant will fund the Boston Healthy Child Care Initiative and the Office of Early Childhood's Connect, Learn, and Explore initiative.
Thank you. Absent objection, the motion of the committee chair to place this docket number 0116, is that right? Is accepted, and the docket is properly before the body. Councilor Murphy, you have the floor.
Thank you. I'll be asking for a vote to pass, so I do have a description so everyone knows what it is. This is the Boston Children's Hospital grant. The Office of Early Childhood's mission is to make Boston the most family-friendly city by supporting the well-being and flourishing of all infants, toddlers, and young children under 8 growing up in the city of Boston. In partnership with our families, we are currently working across city departments to increase the programs that prevent childhood obesity and increase environmental awareness for young children, focusing on neighborhoods with the highest rates of chronic diseases. A multi-year grant from the Boston Children's Hospital allows the Mayor's Office of Early Childhood to partner with the Boston Public Health Commission, the Streets Cabinet, and the Boston Public Schools to provide programming designed to decrease childhood obesity. The program has a health equity focus and targets neighborhoods with disproportionate obesity levels and lower health outcomes. The BPHC programming engages family child care providers in training on nutrition and physical activity. The Streets and BPS partnership provides biking programming during the school year at Boston Public Schools through the youth cycling program and summer programming at 7 locations across the city. With $200,000, we will give over 2,000 children the resources and support needed to learn how to ride a bike and provide 70 child care providers with training in the areas of nutrition, physical activity, and well-being. Additionally, this funding delivers on reducing childhood obesity, increasing health and wellness awareness for young children, and including their families. So I'm asking that we pass today so that we can get this money to use. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Murphy. Councilor Murphy seeks for passage of docket number 0116. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. The ayes have it. This docket has passed. The next Green Sheets poll, I believe, is Councilor Coletta from the Committee on Environmental Justice, Resiliency, and Parks. Councilor Coletta Zapata, you have the floor.
Thank you so much. It is docket 1475. This is the $2 million for the Clarity Pool from the state. I don't know what page it's
Mr. Clerk, could you please read that docket number 1475, into the record?
From the Committee on Environmental Justice, Resiliency, and Parks, docket number 1475. Message note authorizing the City of Boston to accept and expend the amount of $2 million in the form of a grant for the Clarity Pool project awarded by the United States Department of the Treasury, passed through the Massachusetts Department of Conservation and Recreation to be administered by the Public Facilities Department. The grant will fund the Clarity Pool replacement and bathhouse renovation project.
Thank you. The chair absent objection, the motion of the committee chair, Councilor Coletta Zapata, is accepted, and the docket is properly before the body. Councilor Coletta Zapata, you have the floor.
Thank you so much, Madam President, and I want to thank my colleagues at large and also district who have really helped to get the Clarity Pool project up and running. For those of you who don't know, this was a pool that had years of neglect and just Band-Aids of ad hoc fixes, and finally we were able to mobilize in partnership with the community and moms who largely and always lead the conversation and fight for their community, but a group of Charlestown mothers who asked for what their kids deserve. And so we were able to get the Clarity Pool up and running. Thank you to the administration for that investment. It now looks like it's the Charlestown Country Club, and it's a beautiful place. Everybody went there this summer. There is a last phase of the project that includes the construction of a bathhouse. And shout out to State Representative Dan Ryan, who was able to secure these funds. And so having this money go through to the Public Facilities Department allows them to start planning and getting that up and running. So I respectfully ask my colleagues to say yes when I'm asking for suspension of passage. Thank you.
Thank you. Is anyone else looking to speak on this matter? Councilor Coletta Zapata seeks for passage of docket number 1475. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. The ayes have it. This docket has passed. The chair recognizes Councilor Pepin, the chair of the Committee on City Services and Innovation Technology. You have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to pull docket number 1386 out of the City Services and Technology Innovation Committee on page 3 of the green sheets. That's docket number 1386, page 3.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, would you please read the docket into the record?
One, three.
1386. Is that the right? Is it 1386?
Yep.
Page 4.
Sorry, page 4.
From the Committee of City Services and Innovation Technology, docket number 1386. Message and order authorizing the City of Boston to accept and expend the amount of $1 million in the form of a grant for the MBI Digital Equity Partnership Program awarded by the United States Department of the Treasury, passed through the Massachusetts Technology Collaborative to be administered by the Department of Innovation and Technology. The grant will fund services and support for residents of the Commonwealth who cannot afford broadband service and/or internet-connected devices or lack the digital literacy skills needed to utilize the internet.
Thank you. Absent objection, the motion of the committee chair is accepted, and this docket number 1386 is properly before the body. Councilor Pepin, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. This grant will give a $1 million to the Massachusetts Broadband Institute Digital Equity Program, a program that provides services and supports for residents who cannot afford what many consider a utility in today's digital world, the internet. This will build on the popular services like the Wicked Free Wi-Fi, the Boston Housing Authority's digital literacy program, improve internet access at the BCYF centers, and help create more programs to provide internet-connected devices to nonprofits, BHAs, and the libraries to communities of residents in need. So today I'm asking for a suspension and pass.
Thank you. Councilor Pepin seeks for passage of docket number 1386. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. The ayes have it. This docket is passed. The chair recognizes Councilor Orell, the chair of the Committee on Ways and Means. Councilor Orell, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to pull docket number 1430 on page 20 of the green sheets.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Would you please read docket number 1430 into the record?
From the Committee on Ways and Means, docket number 1430, message and order for your approval, an order authorizing the City of Boston to appropriate the amount of $2,225,000 for the purpose of paying the cost of a feasibility study and schematic design associated with a project for the Pauline Agassiz Shaw Charles H. Taylor Elementary School in Mattapan, Mass. 02126. This includes the payment of all costs incidental related thereto and for which the City of Boston may be eligible for a grant from the Massachusetts School Building Authority. Said amount to be expended under the direction of the Public Facilities Department on behalf of the Boston Public Schools.
Thank you. Absent objection, the motion of the committee chair is accepted, and this docket number 1430, is properly before the body. Councilor Orell, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. As a reminder, this docket is for an appropriation in the amount of $2,225,000 to cover the feasibility study and schematic design associated with the project for the Pauline Agassiz Shaw and Charles H. Taylor Elementary School in Mattapan. We took our first vote on this docket on October 2nd, and I ask now for a second vote in the affirmative. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Orell seeks passage of docket number 1430. All those in favor say aye. All opposed say nay. Mr. Clerk, will you please conduct a roll call vote?
Roll call vote on docket number 1430. Councilor Brayton.
Yes.
Councilor Brayton, yes. Councilor Coletta Zapata.
Yes.
Councilor Coletta Zapata, yes. Councilor Durkin. Yes. Councilor Durkin, yes. Councilor Fernandez Anderson. Councilor Fitzgerald. Yes. Councilor Fitzgerald, yes. Councilor Flynn. Yes. Councilor Flynn, yes. Councilor Louisiana.
Yes.
Councilor Louisiana, yes. Councilor Mejia. Councilor
Councilor Mejia. Councilor Mejia.
Councilor Mejia, yes. Councilor Murphy. Councilor Murphy, yes. Councilor Pepin. Yes. Councilor Pepin, yes. Councilor Santana. Yes. Councilor Santana, yes. Councilor Weber. Yes. Councilor Weber, yes. Councilor Worrell.
Yes.
Councilor Worrell, yes. Docket number 1430 has received 12 votes in the affirmative, receiving its second reading.
Thank you. Docket number 1430 has received its second reading, and it has passed. Now, is anyone else looking to pull anything else from the green sheets? Awesome. Thank you. Thank you again, everyone. We had all of those on record, and it makes a difference. We are now moving on to late files. I'm informed by the clerk that there are 2 late file matters, 1 personnel order and 1 late file home rule petition from the mayor. We will take a vote on each of these to add the matter to the agenda. All of those in favor of adding the personnel order into the agenda, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. Thank you. That late file matter has been added to the agenda. Probably should have had it read first. Mr. Clerk, can you please read the first late file matter into the record?
First late file matter, personnel order, Councilor Lujan for Councilor Mejia.
The chair moves to passage of this late file matter. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. The personnel order has been adopted. Mr. Clerk, please read the next late file matter into the record, the mayor's home rule petition.
Second late file matter from the office of the mayor. Dear councilors, I transmit herein for your approval a new home rule petition to the general court. Petition for a special law relative to enact relative to property tax classification in the city of Boston.
Thank you. We will take a vote to add this late file matter home rule petition onto the agenda. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. Nay. There's been an objection to the late file matter, and therefore this late file matter is not added to the record.
Shame on you. Yes. Shame.
There is no speaking in chambers. Apologies. We are now moving on to the consent agenda. I have been informed by the clerk that there are no additions to the consent agenda. The question now comes on approval of the various matters contained within the consent agenda. All those in favor say aye. All those in favor of the consent agenda say aye. Aye. Thank you. The consent agenda has been adopted. We are now on to announcements. Please remember that these are for upcoming dates and events. I have an announcement from our 14th councilor, Mike LaRocca. He's currently in rehab in Chelsea, and we just want to send him our best regards. Early voting is happening now, and it's happening all across our city. There are early voting locations, as I said, all throughout the city until Friday, November 1st. And to learn more about early voting, you can early vote here in City Hall. You can early vote around the city. Check out boston.gov/early-voting. So happy voting, everyone. This weekend, there's Mattapan Thrives in Councilor Pepin's district. This Saturday, 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Mattapan Community Center. Also, next Thursday, we'll be celebrating Halloween in Chambers with our young kids here, and we ask everyone to come to help us decorate Chambers and to give out candy. We'll be decorating Chambers at 9:30 a.m., and we'll be giving out candy around 10:30 as a reminder, no nuts, because kids may have allergies. And then we have 2 birthdays that we'd like to celebrate. I'd like to acknowledge birthdays in some of our counselors' offices. Adosa Osemwigi, October 28th, and Irene Nakabonje Lugudi, October 27th. If I messed up, if I pronounced it incorrectly, I promise you, I sincerely apologize. Okay, do any of my colleagues have any announcements that they would like to make? The chair recognizes Councillor Braden. Councillor Braden, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to just, for those watching, we're having a City Council hearing next Tuesday evening at the Jackson Man Community Centre at 6 p.m. So any folks from Alston Brighton who are interested in joining the conversation about programming and also the plans for rebuilding a new community centre in Alston Brighton, please come on down and join the conversation. So it's at the Jackson Man Community Centre at 6 p.m. on October 29th. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Braden. The chair recognizes Councillor Mejia. Councillor Mejia, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. So on Monday, October 28th, our office is hosting a School Vibes Check-in. It is an opportunity to bring folks, the Citywide Parent Council, nonprofit organizations that provide support services to families all together in one place so that they can get all of the information that they need, because this is a time when you see a lot of issues that are stuff bubbling up to the top, whether it be IEPs or just really having a hard time acclimating into your school culture. So we wanted to create an opportunity for parents to get what they need. Oftentimes we do back to school, and oftentimes people fall through those cracks, and so we wanted to do something after school has started just so that we can check in on our kiddos and create space for community. In the event, we're also gonna have a arts healing component of it, so kids will be able to paint in one side. And then, as you know, we've been doing a clothes drive. I want to give a big shout out to your alma mater, President Louis Jean. Boston Latin School was extremely helpful in our clothes drive. I just want to give them a special shout out. Because of them, we have 250 pieces of donated items that are going to be featured at this event, which we're calling Back to School Boutique. It's going to be set up like a little thrift shop. So for those, you know, Ellen, you've given me some of your hands down, and I have no problem taking people's hands down. So, you know, I'm here for all of it. So we're creating an opportunity for young people to be able to shop with dignity. Because for those folks who know, when kids, you know, are struggling to just even make their ends meet and they don't have the finest clothes, they show up and show out sometimes in schools. And so we wanted to create an opportunity for young people to be able to pick up pieces for free. Thank you to all the folks who have donated to this amazing cause. So on October 28th, it'll be like a little thrift shop at the Bruce Boland building, so people can pick up donated goods. And so wanted to just thank all of our partners for their support in making this happen. And my daughter, I want to give a shout out to Hoops Collaborative. I saw President Louis Jean there supporting our ballers, and I want to give a shout out to the Hoops Collaborative for creating space for our athletes to be able to put some time into their craft. So they are doing that every Monday at the at Edward Brooke Charter School. So if you want to stop by, every Monday, the Hoops Collaborative is there at 6 o'clock, so you can come in and say hello. And these kids come from all across the city of Boston, so no matter what district you represent, chances are some of those kids are running up and down the court and you represent them. So I'm sure if you show up, they'll give you an opportunity to speak. And that's all for now. And I want to give a shout out to the Mass Senior Council, who is here, like for real, showing up as you should. And so I just want to acknowledge you all for being here today. We see you, we appreciate you, and know that we are here advocating on your behalf. Thank you.
Thank you. I just like to, you know, correct the record in that I did go to Boston Latin School. There's another alum here in the house. So there are two BLS alums in this building, and it's appreciated because our Mr. Condor Process was in the house here in City Hall today, and it was really a joy to see him. He was the head of school at Boston Latin School and also the interim superintendent here for Boston Public Schools. And want to uplift the incredible work of Mitch over at Hoops Collaborative, over at the Brooke School, on American Legion. It was just really incredible to see what it looks like to give our young female hoopers more game time, and we should be doing that as much as we can. So shout out to Mitch and all the work and everyone involved in all the work that they do with the Hoops Collaborative. The chair recognizes Councilor Pepin. Councilor Pepin, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Just want to give a quick announcement on two exciting Halloween events happening in my district. The B3 Police District is having theirs on Thursday, so 24, that's tomorrow, from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. They have a really cool haunted house over there, so they represent my district and Councilor Borrell's district, so we'll be there to support them. And then on Friday, from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m., the E5 Police District is doing their Halloween party. So they wanted me to make sure everyone got that invitation and let you all know that's happening. And then you also mentioned already, but I want to say it again, the Mattapan Thrives event. It's a property ownership and management generational wealth building event at the Mattahunt. It's going to be a beautiful event in the morning in Mattapan, so I invite you all to come by. It's going to be a great opportunity to learn more. Thank you.
Thank you. The chair recognizes Councilor Weber. Councilor Weber, you have the floor.
Thank you. Just want to invite people to the dedication of Flora Way, which was formerly Bussey Street at the Arboretum. on Saturday at 2 p.m. It's on the grounds of the Arboretum between the Walter Street Gate and the current Bussey Street Gate. This follows years of advocacy by the community, by former councilors Arroyo and Lara, and Councilor Pepin. And so, I hope people can come out and celebrate the dedication of Flora Way. Thank you.
Thank you. I will be there, and I want to thank everyone who's worked on this. It's incredibly important that we pay homage to those who were formerly enslaved and recognize them and contributions here in the city of Boston. Any of my colleagues have any other announcements? No? Okay. We are now moving on to memorials. If you would like to speak on behalf of anyone who has passed, now is the time. I just want to uplift someone who we all work with here in the city of Boston, Daniel Johnson, whose father, Bill Matheny, passed away. So just want to uplift Daniel Johnson and the Office of Housing Stability during this difficult time for her and her family, and also uplift Democratic State Committee member Walter McDonough on the passing of his mother, Kathleen McDonough. The chair recognizes Councilor Orrell. Councilor Orrell, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to take the moment to offer my prayers and condolences to the Castillo family who's here in attendance, and also recognize and celebrate the life of Aileen Gloria Castillo. Aileen Gloria Castillo, affectionately known as Mama, was a resilient and aspiring pillar of the District 4 community. Born in Honduras, she came to Boston at age 37, quickly establishing a legacy of hard work and dedication. Mama worked at Mass General Hospital and pursued an associate nursing degree. She was a homeowner, a proud advocate for senior rights, a regular supporter of the Louis D. Brown Peace Institute, and a recipient of the Junior Parish Lay Leadership Award. Her warmth and wisdom touched many lives, leaving a lasting impact on all who knew her. Mama's legacy lives on through her family and the countless people she helped in her community. She is survived by her 6 children, 22 grandchildren, and 41 great-grandchildren, and 1 great-great-grandchild.
Wow. Very
blessed. My deepest condolences go out to her family and loved ones during this difficult time. Thank you.
Thank you. What a legacy. Thank you, Councilor Orrell. Anyone else? Any of my other colleagues? Okay. Today, we will adjourn our meeting in memory of the following individuals. On behalf of Councilor Coletta Zapata, Lena Capogreco, Michelle Morgan, Kathleen Elliott. On behalf of Councilor Flynn, Sister Evelyn Hurley, Jean Marie Wellen. On behalf of myself, Council President Louis Jean, Robert Bob Julien, father of Krichney Julien. On behalf of myself and the entire Boston City Council, Kathleen McDonough, mother of Democratic State Committee member Walter McDonough. Bill Matheny, father of Daniel Johnson, Executive Director of Office of Housing Stability. On behalf of Councilor Mejia, Alex Olmedo Soto. Freddie Mendez. On behalf of Councilor Pepin, Richard Chalfin. On behalf of Councilor Orrell, Dante Webb, Alma Smith, Aileen Gloria Castillo. The chair moves that when the council adjourns today, it does so in memory of the aforementioned individuals. A moment of silence. Thanks, everyone. The council is scheduled to meet again in the Ionella Chamber on Wednesday, October 30th, 2024 at noon. Reminder to my colleagues that there is snow tonight, this evening, so if you please show up to snow with our central staff. Also, if my colleagues right after adjournment would love to take a picture with Erkut, so Erkut, if you could come up and we can take a picture with you, and then we will also take a picture with Mass Senior Action Council. Thank you. This meeting is adjourned. Oh, all in favor of adjournment, say aye. Aye. Thank you. This meeting is adjourned.